Hello again!
Hello! Welcome back to 俺たちの漫言はこれからだ. Or Orekara for short, the podcast where we talk about Weekly Shonen Jump and our outlook on the magazine. My name is Maxi Hamburger, and to my left is Percival Fine. Hello.
You're right! Hello. Here we are, and we're up to episode 37 of the podcast, covering issue 46 of this year's Weekly Shonen Jump. It's got a very cool cover page today.
Is it cool?
Sakamoto as the gang star.
Is it cool?
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
I think Shin and Hazy in the background are a little bit stubby. Like if you imagine what their lower bodies look like.
Yeah,
they have like no legs.
Especially Hazy.
And his wife is kind of like this is sexual dimorphism where she's kind of like hobbit sized and he's kind of ugly bastard
the size of them. It would have been fine if you didn't show everyone else's feet, but with their feet there, then you really notice how wonky it is.
You'll be surprised that this is going to be a recurring issue in this issue.
Oh no! The improperly sized characters. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's
just jump right into it?
Let's jump right into it. Yeah, first manga, we got One Piece chapter 1063, My Only Family. So, yeah, it starts out with Luffy and friends who found the food machine being overly full.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the little aside where Atlas is like, all four of you are stuffed to bursting. And Jinbei is like, this is just how I normally was. I'm just fat.
It's nice how both, not just Luffy, who's made of rubber, so he can like stretch into anything. Mm-hmm. Even Chopper and Bonnie get fat.
Yes.
And then on the next page, they're slim again, just like Luffy.
Yeah, that's to show time has passed. They've been able to digest.
No, I think that's instantaneous.
They're all working on Nika rules for having extreme cartoon bodies now. The thing I was going to point out is it looks like now Atlas's dress says Punk 05 instead of Punk 06.
So it must have been a mistake.
So it was just Oda's mistake, because I was thinking last week, there's something going on with one of the Vegapunks taking the clothes of the other, or did Kaku make a mistake? And
yeah, I mean both would have been possible, but it was just a mistake.
It's like, no, Oda is the one who is wrong.
See, English isn't his first language, so he doesn't know what numbers are.
Don't they learn how to write those numbers in Japan too, though? It's common. It's common all around the world.
No, it's a secret. Not supposed to talk about how even numbers are not Japanese.
Yeah. So they go and they, or Atlas goes. Atlas is like, bye-bye, I'm going to go do violence. And they're just like, what does that mean? They can't do anything about it.
When she says, I need to go back to my job, violence, I think violence is her, like, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Her farewell greeting.
That could be it too. I thought that it was meaning her job is violence. And they're like, what the hell?
Her title is already violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it said on the chart last week. But our friends, the Straw Hats, they end up looking around and they find a clothes machine. And the clothes machine is very good. Look at what it gives to Bonnie.
It's good because it undresses Bonnie.
Yeah. Well,
one more time. She got undressed twice over the course of 3 chapters.
That's right. Oda knows what he's doing here.
Yes. Very, very thankful. Arigatai.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the fat guy gets a Hawaiian shirt.
What's that? What's the deal with that? Why didn't he pick the future look? Why did he just get like, I'm on vacation now?
I don't know.
T-shirt.
It's a good question.
It's not like he's not blending in. It's just getting worse.
Because everybody else, they saw other people or maybe their other robots are all wearing the future clothes, and Jinbei
Yeah.
is the only one who gets that, and he's like,
Reject
guess
society.
it's a better disguise
Maybe-
than my normal clothes. It's like, is it really?
I mean, Oda is always giving everybody a new outfit for every story arc.
Yeah,
And
it's
maybe
fun.
he like mapped out all of the story arcs that are left in One Piece, and he realized, shit, I want Jinbei to have one official appearance where he has a Hawaiian shirt.
There's
So
no time for it.
where do I put it? Shit, I have to put it here.
He just took
yeah,
the
I guess.
opportunity. He saw it and grabbed it.
I guess maybe he came up with a future look for Fat Jinbei and was like, no, this doesn't look good.
This is bad. Give him something different.
You just
Even though
have
it
to
doesn't- it
look like a
doesn't fit
stereotypical fat guy.
The explanation of we got to change clothes to fit in. One thing I thought is they say that Sanji is going to be mad about missing
like everybody
or about the food generator. They're like,
can't
he's
wait
going
for
to be mad
everybody
about
to
the food
see
generator.
the food generator, except Sanji.
Yeah.
He's going to be mad.
Yeah, because it'll take his job, but they don't take into account that he's going to be really happy about the female clothes coming from the clothes generator.
Yes.
Also, we haven't ruled out the possibility of a AI art generator that he could find.
Ooh. Draw the rest of One Piece, really high quality, trending on ArtStation.
Yeah, we just haven't seen that machine there, but
Make all of the characters female versions. Big boobs.
What a good idea! Imagine if someone did something like that. So next, unfortunately,
too bad this won't happen in One Piece.
Atlas did not tell them that you actually have to pay for the food and clothes.
It never came up. Like, where's
ever.
There's no price
tag. The machines didn't say it either.
You think that
there'd be that? There'd be a slot for money, and it wouldn't give you stuff without it. But apparently, it's illegal to just take stuff and not pay.
I wish there was an indication for that, because I also want to know how the money works. Like, why didn't they notice this? Even Jinbei doesn't notice it.
Yeah,
Jinbei is supposed to be the smart one of this group.
You could pass over the other ones not noticing it because Chopper is too innocent. And
Chopper doesn't know what money is.
Yeah, Bonnie and Luffy are kind of airheaded.
Well, they also don't care. Like, whenever they see money, they just eat it.
Yeah, they're big eaters. If I can't,
this is the one thing the one crime that you can always nail Luffy on. Like, whenever he's there, and you're like, well, is he really a pirate? He helped the people. He didn't really steal anything, but then like, he stole all of the food.
Yeah.
That's the one crime.
But yeah, they get attacked by the police, which is a Kuma model pacifista.
Yeah.
And Luffy is about to just punch it really hard, but Bonnie stops him.
No, don't do it. It's my daddy.
That's her daddy. Even though we know it's not really. It's a copy to look like him.
He doesn't know it. Even though she should know it.
Yeah.
She really should know it. Why doesn't she know it?
Because the original Kuma is with Dragon, right? And she saw him. But did she see other multiple pacifista at a time ever? Because we've seen battles where there are multiple Kuma-looking pacifista.
I mean,
that's
true, but she should know. If she knows that Vegapunk is the one who turned Kuma into a cyborg, she would know more about that. Especially when she was there when Sabo freed Kuma. Like, why would he end up again on Head?
Maybe it's just the thing that she can't separate the way that they look from thinking about her father.
One weakness.
So, yeah. Even though if you told her like that, that's not really him. That's a robot that's copied to look like him. Then
it's usually like a huge moment when you have to overcome that somebody's like turning into your mom or something. And
when Dora and Kusanagi figured out that mist thing showing them or Dora's mom was just an illusion. Yeah.
Just like the manga you're talking about, it's just an illusion. Doron?
What's
Never
that?
heard of
Never
it.
heard of it. But the pacifista is like shooting lasers at them, and I'm like, why would you have something this destructive being your police force? Because look at this hole; it's blowing in the island. It's like surely the property damage it's doing to your own place is greater than what you're losing from Luffy and friends.
Especially with all of the Vegapunks we've seen so far complaining about the lack of funding.
Mm-hmm.
You would be really like you get the police shows up because you stole something. So money is and funds are valuable, but then it just destroys so much of the city. You're right. That's dumb.
Yeah. It's a really silly thing, but it's basically just so that the other Straw Hats get to learn that about Bonnie's connection to Kuma. That's basically why that scene happened.
Right.
So
it's one of the most important parts.
Then we get a scene transition, and we get to see what's going on with Law, and it's that he's unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, runs into Blackbeard's crew.
Fortunately, because something happened. Some people did something to him.
Yeah, so it turns out one of Blackbeard's crew has gotten a
new fruit.
A new fruit we've never seen before that can spread.
You got the shiku fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up what they are named in Japanese. The warp fruit is wapu wapu, and strong is named diki diki, and sik is just shiki shiki. No wait, shiku shiku. Sorry.
Shiku shiku. But yeah, so it turns out being a woman is a disease because Law's crew got infected with the disease, the feminization disease.
Quite the disease. This what they call surely it. Won't spawn things. I mean, the design, the female Law design that has already existed before, and I guess Oda just needed one more reason to like put it into canon without them having to meet Emporio Ivankov.
Yeah, was that from like a SBS question?
Yes.
Like what would happen if these people met Emporio?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like show all of the warlords as gender bent versions, and then show all of the first generations as gender bends.
I want to look that up now. Well, maybe after recording. Yeah, I bet it is. So I think that this is probably going to be the end of Law's journey to the One Piece.
No, that can't be because Law is just too popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
you couldn't possibly end this character's journey.
Oh, he's not going to be dead, but I don't think that they're going to beat the Blackbeard crew. So they're going to lose their...
Well, they could always escape.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
The main thing that I really liked about this page is how the two underlings whose names I always forget, even though they are named.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them has already turned into a woman, and the other one is like, yes! Gotta hug him.
Super into it. He's like, oh no, I touched you, and now I got it too.
I've seen a doujinshi that had a similar... two chapters.
Wow.
Similar plot. Not with One Piece, but
a different
people
series.
who know will know.
Yeah. So that was a pretty fun chapter, I thought.
Yeah, I like
the reveals of what powers Blackbeard's crew have. The Straw Hats got to learn about Bonnie's relationship with Kuma. And I think we could safely say that this is a big fan service chapter.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, seeing the future island clothing, it lets us hope and imagine what Robin and Nami will get.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I'm actually kind of expecting that they're gonna meet up with the rest of them, and they'll be like, "Yeah, you guys get future island clothes too." And Sanji will be like, "Oh, this is gonna be so awesome." And then Robin comes out and is wearing something super covered up. Like
no, we have to sell the figures of Robin. We have Oda himself puts the sexy figures into his bathroom.
That's true. Oh yeah, he has a Robin in his next to his bathtub, next to his dragon bathtub, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, well here's how you do it, so you can have that joke of Sanji big disappoint, but also be able to make the sexy figure. Is you give Robin the very covered up big jacket like Luffy has, but then when you make the figure, the jacket is like half off of her and open.
Mm,
And there's a sexy jumpsuit underneath. That's how you do it.
maybe.
Yeah.
Or
I
it's
solved it. You're welcome.
or maybe it's Asuka's plug suit from Magma Diver.
Ah,
And then when she presses a button, it becomes skin tight.
yeah. That would be good too.
Make it happen. Computer.
Just
Artwork
redo.
of Robin.
Yeah, just redo that scene. Fan animators, go and redo that scene, but with Robin instead of Asuka.
Really high quality. Trending on ArtStation. Anyways, this chapter gets 78 points from me.
Good stuff. I liked it. Yeah, going
It's
on.
the highest, by the way.
Oh, nice. Well, I guess we know the high point for your scores. The next series we have is Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 201, Direct Talks Part 2. So, what did you think about this chapter? Because I thought it was kind of a waste of time.
Yeah. We didn't need more elaboration on all of the other countries getting into the kidnapped Japanese people business. It did answer some of our questions, for instance, like that they do realize there's Japanese people outside of Japan, and that
Yeah.
that they do consider first experimenting on them and then maybe finding somebody who can do it. And also it's actually kind of a nice touch that the president is kind of like,
yes, there's a bit of conflict within the politicians sitting here. The president's like, do you really want to do that? Maybe that's not a good idea. But then this other guy is like, well, but everyone else is gonna do it, so actually we'll be the good guys because we'll be protecting them from other people kidnapping them. It's like the big brain thing.
I mean,
if we kidnap them first, we're actually protecting them from being kidnapped by other people.
If I were to get kidnapped, I'd want to be kidnapped by America and not by Russia or China.
Or India.
Or India. Oh, that would be the worst. I'd probably go for China
France.
before India. France wouldn't be able to do that. Like none of the Europeans. They do mention that Germany abolished nuclear power, which was funny because that's
it's real, isn't it?
The thing that's real.
Yeah.
But like it's unimaginable. I can't even ask you to imagine because it's so stupid. Like Germany kidnapping Japan. Get out. We do have a bunch of Japanese people. We could use those.
I'm remembering reading some news article about there's some, I think it may have been the Ukraine war, something like some conflict where some country was like, we need help militarily, and they asked Germany, and they're like, oh, it would really help us out if you sent like such and such number of troops to help protect somewhere. And then the German government is like, we do not have that many troops, period.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess the great powers of Europe are not really that powerful anymore when it comes to military.
I recently watched this is a total tangent, but I recently watched a thing about like hackers from China, a documentary, where the documentary filmers found out about a recent hack of the European Union, where I think the Chinese hackers got it from Cyprus, where they just didn't use a very good password. Or rather, they used phishing mails to get one of the employees to reveal the password, and then they just got all of the documents. So when they got all of the documents, they asked the guy from the European Union And
Mhm.
he was like, well, we are aware of it, but I can't tell you much more. And also, we can't really. The conclusion really was I forgot if the guy said it or if they said it, but the conclusion was even if the European Union were to discuss, like, maybe we should do something about the Chinese hack,
Mhm. They
it would
couldn't.
it would require every single European member state to agree on doing something about the hack.
Ah, that would
So
take
they
a lot of
would
time.
imagine like some small shitty European Union member going like, nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to kidnap
Yeah.
sorcerers. Like it would totally hinge on some Balkan country to be like, no, I don't want to do it because they got enough money from China or Russia to
Mhm.
not vote on it. Then that's that.
Yeah.
So uh, France wouldn't be able to do it. Germany wouldn't be able to do it if if these two big powerhouses in the EU can't do it, then nobody can.
But you know who thinks he can?
Ah,
Gary K.
this
Johnson.
this guy, he's
What a
such a
guy!
this is such a lazy town villain.
No, yeah, I love this guy. His design is so extreme and ridiculous. It's like no way with because if you've seen pictures of modern American military guys,
Yeah,
they're like obsessively clean cut.
yeah,
They would never have this kind of villain mustache.
yeah. Especially not with the eye patch. There's only
Hmm.
one guy with an eye patch in American politics,
Yeah,
and I mean,
yeah, solid as snake.
yeah, he can pass as like a character, but not this one. This is too much.
Yeah, this is really funny though. I like this guy's design just for how over the top it is, and he's basically like, oh well, we could definitely go and kidnap a bunch of sorcerers because we've got muscular men with guns, so they're gonna be they're gonna be better at fighting than a bunch of psychics.
I mean, depends
And
on what psychic it is.
yeah, and Ghetto is like, well, you haven't seen our powers, so I'm gonna demonstrate to you how much better sorcerers are than soldiers. He tells him
And he
that
just
yeah,
makes
because
all of the soldiers disappear.
yeah, because first Gary is like, we'll send like 100 guys, which is by the way already like a lot for invading Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then Ghetto is like, no, you need to send at least 800. And he demonstrates. He's like, here, I'll show you how I can easily defeat all the guards and soldiers you have hanging around the White House.
Kind of
And
unfair because he's already super powerful.
he's way more powerful than most sorcerers, so it is very unfair. But I read this part and I was like, this is so stupid because it's the White House, and he's getting rid of the people by throwing them up into the sky and having them fall down, and also stealing their dog tags.
Are they all dead?
It looks
And
like
the
they're all dead
elephant.
because yeah, this he summons this gigantic elephant god creature and just tosses them in the air, and they all fall down, and there's like blood splats. So I'm pretty sure they're dead. I think that this is
Aw.
because Gege likes X-Men, and he's like combining the Nightcrawler attack on the White House from
Ah,
X-Men 2 with Azazel killing all of the guards of the place that the young X-Men are staying in
ah.
first class.
He does like movies.
Yeah, is he film brain like Fujimoto
Not
and
as film
Kanaguri?
brain as Fujimoto because I think Jujutsu Kaisen hasn't wowed us with as much like paneling
Hmm.
action
Yeah.
stuff. Like a bunch of times we were like, "What is this shit?" on the panel,
Hmm.
and this rarely happens in
Yeah, and
Fujimoto mangas.
this little demonstration, I'm kind of like, are you trying to keep it secret or do you want this to be public? Because it would be pretty big news if, because there's
There's
constantly
cameras.
video cameras around the
Yeah.
White House. There'd be pretty big news. It's like, oh, like 24 soldiers flew out of the White House and fell down and died on the lawn.
I mean, I think he does want chaos because he already contacted everybody else before he went to the White House. And
That
the
sounds like
president
he's
is
wanting chaos in Japan, where the calling game is happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This sort of thing would just make everyone freak out in America.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
all part of the plan.
Also, this happened half a year before what's going on with the rest of the crew in the calling game.
Yeah.
So it's sort of weird that they never mention, like, oh, by the way, this mysterious thing happened in America that is probably big news, and maybe that will affect the way that the rest of the world thinks about Jujutsu sorcerers. They never talk about that. So it's like this chapter, I said it's a waste of time because from last week, we could already judge that means that there's a bunch of foreign soldiers who are going to show up to try to kidnap Jujutsu sorcerers during the calling game.
Right.
And then this just, the fact that Gero's demonstration was so flashy creates kind of a plot hole of why wasn't something like this ever mentioned before?
I think there's probably, like, if you want to overthink it a little bit more, you could say that the mystery of sorcery never leaving Japan until now is a little bit unrealistic, especially when there's so many people leaving Japan.
Exactly.
If you are a sorcerer who's like, wow, cursed energy is shit. If you get involved with this stuff, you have like a 70% chance of dying. Might as well bail.
Yeah.
I'm going to a place where there's no cursed energy. Then you end up in America, and then you might have some adventures in San Francisco where there is an enclave of other sorcerers, and eventually this shit is going to reach the president over the course of like 300 years of American history. Somebody's going to be like, hey, what's up with this magic from forever. Japan? It can't remain a secret forever.
Yeah.
Anybody will eventually tell this to somebody who's eventually going to tell this to the CIA.
Another thing I was thinking is,
Men in Black.
Do you remember what Kenjaku's explanation was for why he's doing the calling game?
He hates normal humans and wants to turn more people into sorcerers.
So Gero's original concept was he wants everyone to become sorcerers. Yeah. But then that was before he got his mind taken over by Kenjaku. Kenjaku has like a bit different of a plan. And before, I'm not sure if it was before the calling game or a cutaway during it, but at some point Kenjaku explains that doing the calling game, making all the sorcerers kill each other, it's going to force an evolution of their cursed energy to become quote unquote optimized. And there's already a guy named Master Tengen who's an immortal. And over thousands of years, he started losing his sense of self. And they say that he's becoming one with the world. So he can, like, experience what's going on all over the world. And Kenjaku says that his goal is to eventually make everybody like Master Tengen, so that all of humanity has a shared consciousness, which sounds kind of like Human Instrumentality Project from Evangelion, but with cursed energy instead of LCL.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm like, then he specifically for that would need the sorcerers to fight each other. How does it help him to have a bunch of soldiers from foreign countries come in and try to kidnap them? You think that, if anything, the only thing it could lead to is some of the soldiers are successful and they take them away, and then the sorcerers aren't fighting each other, or the sorcerers spend time fighting the soldiers instead of each other. So I don't understand this yet.
Yeah,
maybe I will in the future. But
make a lot of sense. Let's put a pin in that, and
we'll put a
get
pin
back
in
to it when eventually.
Yeah. Anyway,
we have to circle back.
As I said before, I thought this chapter was just a waste.
Yeah,
Sorry,
probably.
Jujutsu Kaisen fans.
Let's see. I gave it 65 points. It was fine,
Mhm.
but it didn't do justice to the expectations that I had compared to last week when I was like, yeah, this is a cool concept, but now it's like,
Mhm.
this is not doing good on it.
I think you thought it was cool because it shows Kenjaku being very conniving and
No, I thought it was
tricking
cool
people, going
because
to different places.
I thought it was cool because it was for once treating the rest of the world
Hmm.
as like an actual place that can get involved
Hmm. Yeah.
and not just
The
shadow
rest of the world
person.
exists. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't just brush it over like Hero Academia does.
yeah.
Anyway, going on. Next manga, we got
Next manga.
Ginka and Gruna, Chapter
Yes.
6. Various Ginka. So last time we got introduced to the rock-looking Ginka,
Mm.
and this time they give him a nickname. He's called Minigin now. And we get a little explanation that this is a bunch of fragments of Ginka's original body having come together.
We
And
kind of knew that already, I think.
yeah, but it gets spelled out here. And for some reason, they also say that it has the personality of 9-year-old Ginka.
That's why he's so small.
Yes, but then it sort of doesn't make sense to me because he seems to know basically all of Ginka's history and
It's
even
true.
post fragmentation because he talks about like, oh, you're probably going to encounter other forms of yourself and shows all these potential
All
versions
of
of
the
Ginka.
Pokemons of different
Yeah.
his
Yeah, this is what
evolutions.
happens when the evolutions of Ginka. Ginkalutions. But it's like, if it's the 9-year-old personality, how did it learn that?
He probably shouldn't, but I can accept it. Like being
Mm-hmm.
the memory is shared, but the
Mm-hmm.
personality is one fragment of his soul that gets
Okay.
isolated. Like you
Yeah.
can have like me when I was 9, that was what I was like,
Yeah.
and like you can sometimes act in a way that emulates your personality when you are different
Mm-hmm.
aged.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
me though. I was
either way,
always the same personality.
I thought maybe that this would end up with something like they fuse and it becomes like sometimes Ginka can change to this form and become more childlike,
Yeah,
but no, they keep them separate for some
this is
reason.
weird. I
Even
didn't
though their
think that would.
goal is to make
Yeah,
Ginka
whole
recombine
again.
Ginka.
Yeah,
Yeah. But then they keep these two separate. I'm like, would have been better if they fused.
I
Uh,
think that this might be an ill-advised change from the editor, maybe because
yes, I could feel the editor saying, Ginka is not cute enough. You need to make a
yes,
smaller version to be the mascot
yes.
character. And
And
then
now
they're
he's
like,
just
well,
going to add
they're gonna
new
fuse. And then,
mascots.
yeah.
And once
I,
this is something that I would say, like let's say they find new Ginka, like
mm-hmm,
small Ginkas every 3 or so chapters.
mm-hmm. There'd be too many.
Yeah, they are going to collect like the small
Yeah,
Pokemon
they gotta catch
team,
them all.
and then when the final chapter happens, hopefully not, but like not, it's not unlikely that it's going to
Chapter
last until
23, they're gonna have
yeah,
to
20.
all fuse together.
Yes, that's going to be the big climax of like,
Mm,
we've been collecting these small little shits
yeah.
November, December, and now we can finally fuse them all together, and that's the thing.
Hmm.
Um,
I'm writing
it's
that
just
down in the prophecies text file. Chapter
I don't want
23,
it. Oh, I
Ginka
don't want
and
it, but it's going to be true.
Runa. Yeah.
My future sight is telling me that it's the truth.
Like small Ginkas all fused back together. Yeah, that's probably gonna happen.
I wish he had just fused immediately. This
I
is
know.
just
Well, the thing is,
expanding the
you
roster
could even
unnecessarily.
yes. One thing I wrote down about this chapter that I said I didn't like is that we barely got any time to get to know Beretta. Remember how
Yeah.
happy we were
Yeah,
about her
I was
joining the
happy.
team.
Very happy.
And then we get like nothing from her because they're like, no, we gotta introduce Anemone and make them friends. And also we got Minigin now, so
Too
there's
many.
yeah
New
yeah
character
the party
every
has been filling out too fast.
single chapter, new
Yeah,
team member.
yeah, which is why it would have been perfect if they're like, okay, we fuse Snow Ginka and Minigin, and instead of being a second character, then it's now he has this transformation. He can become small, but then his personality becomes more childlike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good. Missed opportunity. Anyway, then they get out of the bottomless pit. We thought they were going on a bottomless pit arc,
Too
and it was
bad.
like 2 chapters. Well, 3 chapters.
I didn't think the bottomless pit would last this long because this manga has been so fast paced that you really need to like show a bunch of different adventures, especially when the bottomless pit started out with a relatively, comparatively to all of the other stuff we've seen so far, boring design. You need at least a crystal cave to make it exciting to explore it. And if it had been this kind of like monster stomach, berserk sea god interior, that would have been a good start. But when it was just like a big cave with square holes, that was lame. So Bale, get out of there as fast as possible, finish the mission, get on with it.
Yeah, but they get out there super fast, and then they just have another montage about like, and we did other stuff before we're gonna move on to the next zone.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, this well, I just think that this series has too many montages. I think it was okay before when it was just like, here's the montage of them getting through all of the low level quests.
It could be worse. It could be like in Roboco, this all could have been in one big panel with no backgrounds and just saying a lot of stuff happened. And then it's the bottom 2 panels of Glüna being like, new plot? Disregard everything that was happening in the previous, in the rest of the page.
And I know that as a VTuber, you are partial to the jacket half off look, but what do you think? Anemone with her hood up or the jacket half off? Because when she puts the hood up, it kind of has ears on it. It's kind of Pokemon looking.
It also hides the twin tails because
exactly that's the main thing it does.
Twin tails are shit. If I automatically automatically hate any design that has twin tails. So if there's a way to get rid of them,
floppy twin tails can be really good. These stiff Pippi Longstocking ones just don't look cool anymore.
But listen, every time a character who used to have twin tails puts her hair down, immediately better.
Who's that happen to?
It's always an upgrade.
A downgrade to an upgrade.
No, well, one of them is Nico Yazawa from Love Live. Immediately looks better with without twin tails. I'll make a list. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Do a video about it.
You will come to see the light.
No. There's some good twin tail characters out there. I'm sure of it. Just not this one. Anemone does not look cool. But they do talk about they're gonna go and find the Magic Guild, and they describe about how the Magic Guild is so great, and it's all the best magicians.
All of these silhouettes of future emperors in front of the Elden Ring.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, wait, you haven't played enough Elden Ring to know that this is almost exactly what the Elden Ring looks like.
Oh, is it? Really? Okay,
I need to
play more. The many rings. But Minigin says something, saying that, if we want to find more Ginka body parts, then you have to look for
We have to become hunters.
Yeah, basically.
We have to go to the Hunters Association. We get Hunters licenses. The Hunters Association is on the highest mountain, not the highest tree of the world, it's the highest mountain. Essentially, it's the same.
Do you think there's going to be a cool old guy like Chairman Netero?
Who knows? It's hard to tell. This manga
Cool old
is
witch.
throwing a bunch of curveballs with the Elden
Mhm.
Ring monster boss as the teacher of Anemone, and
Oh yeah, I
could
wonder
be
how long it'll take
anything.
to get that resolved. The whole Anemone's backstory.
I actually hope it doesn't get resolved. I hope it's just like it's
They never
just
go
flavor.
back.
Just flavor. Just leave it as flavor. Don't touch
Mhm.
on it. Don't. Maybe if we're lucky, they won't even take Beretta and Anemone with them.
Oh,
Just
I want Beretta to go with them.
If it means we can get rid of Anemone,
You're gonna
I would.
sacrifice. You're gonna sacrifice Beretta for more time on the no Anemone clock.
Yes.
Aw. I hope she comes along. It would be bad if they take Anemone and not Beretta.
What would even be the point of her coming with them? Because she's not as good as them at magic.
Mhm.
So all of the magic guild people would be like, "Fuck off! You're shit."
But she's a fan of them. Look at her excite face. She's like, that's the Magic Guild. They're so cool. So she'll go and fangirl over them. She will be the one, or she could be the one, who explains to the protagonists who don't know about the current Magic Guild because they've been living on a mountain for all this time. She'll explain who each of them are. She'll do the roll call narration. That's what Beretta's role is going to be.
Roll call means final chapter near.
Yeah. Let's not say too near. I'm sure they'll at least do their hunter exam with the Magic Guild, right?
I've been burned too many times in the past.
Anyway, I thought this is a kind of boring resolution to the minor rescue storyline. I don't like that Minigin is separate from Snow Ginka. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what the Magic Guild is all about. So
it wasn't bad. I only give it 58 points.
Not bad, but not particularly good either. Yeah. Would you say to people to still keep reading this, or you think it's gonna die too soon?
If the next chapter is another stinker, the next chapter has to be a really cool adventure thing.
If they leave Beretta behind, I'm gonna say give it up.
What if another cool character shows up?
Then we'll see.
Cool environment,
Anyway,
new adventure, cool new character.
Yeah, let's hope Planet Peak looks cooler on the inside than the bottomless pit did. Next up, we got Tokyo Demon Bride Story, Chapter 7. Go fishing! So, yeah, the family goes fishing, and look what they caught. Karuru.
We only have so many characters, we have to reuse them all of the time.
Yeah, it's... well, they do introduce a new character this time, so it's not like they're...
The end,
they're
it's
lacking.
not... No, see, the thing that we've talked about before is that this series should have been a Monster of the Week, Waifu of the Week.
Yes, well, that's
every
what it's
week
pushing towards
girl,
this time.
Monster girl trying to win Jinta's heart or blood, whatever. And
heart, blood, same thing.
So far, we've only gotten Keroru as a recurring waifu.
Yeah.
And she's consistently better than the main waifu.
Unfortunate.
It also, this time it did it again did the thing with the here's the opening. Like exactly the same as last week, where you have the scene and then...
Yes. You can tell which page break is supposed to be the spot that the music starts for the anime opening.
Yeah, then an ad, and it says この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします and then the action starts again. And this time, at least, the author had the courtesy of using established manga literacy language by using one panel that's just a tiny establishing shot of, oh, time has passed. It's at least 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
You have to do this. Last time he didn't
It's
do it.
required. He's learning. Well, that's good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, what happens is that they pull up Kururu and explain that she knocked herself out swimming by hitting a boat. And then she pisses off Monica when Monica is like, I'll save you. She goes to resuscitate her and gets water spat on her face and then gets bonked in the head. And then, unfortunately for you, we don't actually get to see her angry face because it's facing away from us.
He's literally shaking.
Jinta's reaction. She is literally shaking in this one.
Boiling with rage.
Yeah. This one here would be a pretty good sticker.
Mm-hmm.
It's her shaking angrily.
Mm.
But that is all just like... It's supposed to be slice of life comedy part.
Mm.
To give Jinta time to reflect about his past. And think about
that we've been wondering about.
How far his life has come. And I was like, this is dumb.
Yes, I was
what do you think about his past? I was very overwhelmed. Because we were wondering last time, what did he mean about not having homes? I mean, he was literally homeless or just...
Well, he was running away from home because the dad was dead.
Turns out, his dad was a drunk and he ran away from home. And he was sitting on the train all alone. He's a good guy, not a villain, so it's a train, not a swing set. And he looked out over the city and thought, there's so many houses.
All of these lights are families who are not my family.
Yeah. This is like the sadness version of an Earthchild when they're looking out on the lights.
That's exactly what I thought. And you know what?
That made it wholesome. That was like the wholesome part in Earthchild.
Yes.
This is like, this is
I'm going to say the one rare thing Earthchild did something good, which is looking at the lights
did it better.
Looking at the lights of everybody in Tokyo being like, oh, all of these lights are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And Jinta is looking at them and is like, all of these lights are people who are not me.
Yeah. So sad. And then we'd also wondered, like, how did he and the sisters come to be a family? And
now that we also know.
Is very glossed over. It's very stupid. What happens is that Jinta's drunk, deadbeat dad somehow got remarried to Matsuri's mom. And then he disappeared, no explanation. And then that mom somehow got remarried with Tsumugi's dad. And then they both just vanished.
Maybe they died.
Maybe Jinta's blood was attracting too many ghosts even back then. Mm-hmm. And they got taken away by yokai, leaving the siblings.
Those are things that would have gotten explained in chapter 1 or 2, where you are like, yeah, my parents are... For instance, it would come around if the reveal was that his parents, or rather, Matsuri's parents were some kind of spiritual whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that the reason they have the talisman in the house and the reason why they are gone is because of yokai. Yeah, and I mean, we don't get anything like that. We just get mysteries and vagaries.
It still could be that, because this is just too damn vague. Because this is the sort of explanation of backstory that doesn't really explain anything.
It's also such a rare occurrence that it's supposed to create the situation where Jinta has like an older and a younger stepsister who are just additions to the harem.
Yeah, to get stuck into their family dryers.
Exactly. And how do you make it so that neither of them are related to him, but they're in the exact perfect age range? Yeah. Oh, you just have to like make the most convoluted and unrealistic.
That's all you have to do. It's so easy.
So easy. Just do this one shitty trick.
Family, yeah.
I dislike this. I
also dislike it.
even if you were like, oh yeah, I guess we could explore how such a thing were to happen. It's first of all, it's not explaining it.
Yeah.
It's just trying to
It's
get the
showing it.
situation. It's just
this happened. We're not going to say how or why, even though previous things had made us think that there's something special going on with one or more of the parents. And then this is just makes them look like they're bad at getting married, and they keep splitting up and getting married to someone else, and they're irresponsible and left the kids behind.
nobody thought it was a skill, but being good at getting married,
Yeah.
that's difficult. You need to train. Maybe you should have a manga about people who are trying to get good at marrying.
Is that a thing already?
It probably is, but then somebody might comment like, "Oh, this manga is supposed to be that because Manaka is trying to be a good wife, even though she's not doing wifely things. She's just there getting jealous all of the time. She's sometimes protecting Jinta from danger."
Spy X Family is kind of that.
Ooh,
because they get together as a fake family, but then through the story, then the parents are like, maybe there's something real going on here.
maybe we shouldn't use a condom.
Anya's so lonely. We need to make her a younger sibling.
On Yoru, it's supposed to make us more believable as a family.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this.
Do we have anything
inferior
else
manga.
Yeah, do we have anything else to say about this chapter?
The family thing? No, not really. I wanted to say that
Chapter
they
as
tried
a
really
whole.
hard to show Monica being cute, holding the fishing rod, and she says, because Jinta says something like, our family feels more complete now. You're like another little sister. And Monica says, I don't want to be your little sister, but your bride. And Jinta has like a surprised look, even though that's how she introduced herself into the household.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you be surprised?
The funniest thing would be like if he's like, no, you don't understand. I have an incest fetish.
No, I can only get into it.
I can make it
if you're
work.
My little sister.
You don't understand. This is better.
But after that, Karuru is walking home alone. And one thing I noticed, by the way, about Karuru this chapter, no tail. She doesn't have a tail anymore.
Huh.
Did you notice that? She used to have a tail. But look here. She doesn't have a tail. There's multiple panels of her where you can see her whole body. And she doesn't have a tail this chapter. And I'm like, is this a mistake? Or is there a reason for the design change?
If you ask the author, he would be like, no, she's now wearing the thing that makes her less conspicuous to normal humans.
Yeah, that could make sense. Or, yeah.
But I don't want to do all of the work for him.
Yeah, don't write the story for him. The final thing we get is Karuru encounters the new waifu of the week, which is a cat girl named Miyako. That's right.
If you meet, like, why would she announce this to Karuru? Why does she know that Karuru always hangs out with Manaka?
She's been stalking them.
And why would she? This is such a stupid school ground bullshit thing where you tell a friend to tell them to tell another friend that you're, I don't know, gonna do something. What? Just tell them yourself, or tell the sister or something. Don't go to Kero, who is kind of like an outsider.
There's no reason for this.
Yeah, the next time they meet Keroru, see, okay, this would be a funny way to do it. This Nyako meets them first, and then they have this whole chapter where they deal with her, and then Keroru comes and was like, by the way, I met
coming. You guys gotta beware. That would be funny.
It would be even funnier if it takes like several chapters.
Yes.
The longer it takes, the funnier the bit becomes. But
Mhm.
I don't expect this to be regarded as a bit. So
No.
because
not
this
really.
is just a cheap way to get a cliffhanger.
Right. Cliffhanger
Thing that
and
got you excited
introduction.
for the
Like,
next thing.
please read next week. There's now a cute cat girl in the storyline.
He's not even that cute. Like, look
That's
at the
all.
twin tails.
They're fine. What's your deal with twin tails?
Hate
They're
him.
fine.
No,
Anyway,
twin tails are bad.
Yeah, this
It's my
chapter
Twitter bio,
was
by the way. Dislikes the
this,
twin tails.
this chapter was rather boring. Usually, I'd be like, "Oh, this is good" when there's a new character with cat ears introduced. But this doesn't get that from me.
I gave it
That was
51 points just because it answered one question that we
What
had.
was your one question?
Well, what's the comment about being homeless?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all. But it was an unsatisfactory answer, so whatever.
Yeah, that's why it's only 51.
Yeah. Going on. We got Akane-banashi, chapter 34, background listening. And look at this color page. It's yeah, another one where she's fully covered up and it's
Not sexy.
yeah,
Not very
you're not
special,
doing
I
it
would
enough
say.
for us. Yeah, contrast, I think what's it called? Something that you often criticize for not being sexy enough. Blue Box thought they had a pretty good color page this time,
It didn't have a color page.
or the cover page.
Cover page.
The illustration with the two main girls together.
Bad.
You didn't like it? Oh,
No, it's
better than
bad.
this.
Didn't like it. Don't need the
Aw.
Chinese dress. What's it
Sad,
called?
but they have-
Chipao or something?
Cheapo, yeah.
Not
Such a high
sexy.
slit in the skirt.
You have to make the slit higher.
You have to be like
You have to use the
Tatsumaki.
sexy Halloween version of it to make it exciting for me. And Blue Box won't do it. Blue Box is the manga that never uses the sexy Halloween version of any costume.
Mm-hmm. Even
So
though if
that's
anyone
why.
would, it would be teenagers. Oh, if anyone would be wearing the sexy Halloween costume version of it, it would be teenagers.
Well, you're drawing these mangas for teenage boys, assumedly.
Yeah.
The target audience is 14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Even younger
the
boys,
the children crave the fan service.
It's called Weekly Shonen Jump. It's for boys.
Yeah.
Boys want the sexy girls. I don't know how often we have to explain that, but
every week.
Every week. It needs to be repeated every week.
Anyway, this chapter, it's more chores time at the theater. And the Zenza leader is like, he's just being a dick to Akane for
more than
no
before.
reason.
And the last chapter ended on him being like, "Oh yeah, nice work today. You didn't fuck up anything.
You did the chores well. I'm disappointed in you.
So
you need to be listening and learning and networking." And then this time it's like,
chapter
you're not doing the chores well enough.
It's still the first day, and he's like, "Oh, now you fucked up a bunch of times." And I'm the timeline is kind of weird.
I didn't know if it's supposed to be the same day or like
it says
a couple
it's
days
the first
later.
day.
Oh really? Okay.
Literally says it's the first day.
All right. I thought he said you all did a good job today.
No.
Didn't think it was literally the same day.
No, first day.
Yeah, this guy's he's a big old flip flopper, and he's just mean to her, and he gives Karashi the spot of being able to open for the higher level pros the next day, and he's like taunting Akane, if you don't do better and make me impressed, then I'm not going to put you on the schedule for the next 10 days, and you're just going to be doing chores.
And then something happened.
Yeah, she talks to Karashi, and gets an explanation of what she's really supposed to be doing,
The
which is
background listening.
which is a title. It's like when you listen to a podcast when you're playing games. That's
Yeah.
background listening.
Sometimes
How's your
games
background
boring.
listening?
For when I do, well, it depends. I can't read a story while listening, but I can listen to something while doing something menial, like grinding
same.
or one of my jobs allows me to do background listening.
I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and I was like, I'll listen to this while playing a game to do two things at once, practice my background listening, and then I left voice chat on on always on, and it was picking up the podcast.
Oh,
like halfway through the match, one of the other players was like, could you turn that down? It's kind of distracting. I was like, oh shit, didn't even
why
notice.
would you do that?
Yeah.
Perhaps you're supposed to listen to that over headphones.
No, well, because I didn't think that my mic was on. I thought my mic was off. So I was like, who
Bad
cares?
gamer.
Yeah, I had it facing the other way. Anyway,
I hope it wasn't an embarrassing podcast.
no, I only listen to very
Orekara.
intellectual podcasts like Orekara. Anyhow, while walking home, also she asked Karashi, "Why did you become a Rakugo-kan?"
He's like, I'm not gonna tell you.
He just blows her off. I'm not gonna tell you.
We do know why he became one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a stupid reason.
Didn't he want to? I don't remember if it's why, but I remember that he did want to modernize the art.
No,
what sent him on this journey to begin with?
It started with him being like, well, what would be the most highbrow hobby to name when people ask me something like about myself? And he's like, okay, the most highbrow would be if I was like, nah, I'm only into Rakugo. I'm not into these modern manzai, whatever. I'm a traditional guy. I'm stylish. And I guess
that's why he's not telling Akane. He's realized, oh shit, that's a really dumb reason.
He took it a little bit more seriously after seeing how good she is, and even though he thought of himself as already being pretty good. But I think that's already everything that's to this guy, and I guess it works for if you're a side character who's just trying to be like the modern version of Rakugo.
Yeah, you don't need a deep backstory for why he got into it in the first place. Yeah, that's fine.
As long as he continues getting more and more serious about it.
Yeah, it's actually fun sometimes when you have characters who they get into whatever tournament or hobby it is that the story is about for a really stupid reason, and they start out like kind of blowing it off and thinking it's a bit frivolous, but as they get more into it, they become more serious about it.
Does it happen in some sports mangas?
Yeah.
Akane-banashi kind of is a sports manga.
Is Akane-banashi a better sports manga than Blue Box?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You really think so?
Yeah.
It doesn't have any romance in it though, unlike Blue Box.
It's okay. Someday it doesn't need romance.
Because it's also a murder mystery about why the show killed her dad. I did notice here it's again funny that everyone continues to assume that since she's from the Arakawa school that Isho is on her side. It's like these other guys don't know.
She doesn't correct them. She gets chewed out by somebody who just enjoys talking down on people and complaining for complaining's sake.
The page after this is several days later, where the rest of the Zenza are like, you're getting good at doing all your chores and also background listening. And then she gets tasked with being the assistant to this guy who's the rookie crusher. And he's not quite as bad as the guy from Hunter x Hunter who gives rookies laxative soda.
Yeah, he's pretty mean. Tompa or something.
Tampa. Yeah, I think that's right. And he's just being a dick and hazing her and saying that everything she does is wrong, even when she was actually right. And he even quotes famous Rakugoka Albert Einstein, telling them that in the
In this
Rakugo
world.
world, rank is everything.
This was very dissatisfying to see
Mhm.
because this is something that happens in real life. This has happened to me on the job
Oh
where
no, that
I
sucks.
didn't do something particularly wrong,
Hmm.
but the boss saw it necessary to tell me that no, you cannot do it this way, even though you did it actually correctly.
They had to put you in your place.
I had to put you in your place, and the worst thing you can do in that situation is being like, no, I did it correctly.
Yeah,
Because then
then you're challenging my authority.
yeah,
Yeah,
even though I was right, he was going nuts,
yeah,
and
that's no
that's
good. No one
for
likes to be in a
somebody
situation like that.
for somebody who's as a individualistic as me.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, words of wisdom to anybody who gets promoted is you gotta try really hard not to be a dick to your subordinates because they're gonna hate you and they won't want to do stuff for you.
that's not the Japanese way. The Japanese way is that you have
It should
to
be.
play along with your boss as long as possible until he's like, okay, you're fine. I'll allow you to take my place, and now I'm going to die. And then you get to be the dick
Yeah,
to all of the idiots, except
yeah,
you're the main character and you're showing like, no, I'm the nice boss and I'm not doing the stupid hazing thing that should be phased out of society.
yeah. You gotta lead by example. That's
Right?
right.
Like, have you ever seen a work of fiction where it starts with the boss doing the hazing shit?
Hmm.
And the lesson is like, yeah, you have to go along with it because there's really valuable lessons in there. And then eventually the main character takes over and becomes the master. And then he continues doing the hazing shit as well.
That's bad.
That never happens. It's
No.
always like, no, and now I'm being the good master. I'm not doing the antiquated stuff.
Yeah, manga is trying to teach society how to improve. But
But
will
like,
society listen?
why can't the lesson be, oh, the master was wrong in the first place?
Hmm.
can we skip to that part where like we can straddle the balance between
Yeah.
master has a reason to be to be an asshole, but also he doesn't have to be an asshole.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to go all the way where the master is always wrong and gets disrespected and the student is always right, because that would be
Hmm.
Star Wars. That would be Rey. That would be the MCU. That would be all of the stuff that we hate. But
Right,
can we
right.
can we find a balance between the master not having to rely on being an asshole?
I'm sure it exists out there somewhere. Actually, I'm wondering, does that happen in Scrubs? Because
Um,
in Scrubs, there's some of the higher level doctors are like horrible assholes to the new doctors, and then they explain it like this is how we mentally toughen you. But then there's some who are like, no, I'm gonna try to be nicer about it, but also try to still impart the same lessons to you.
mm,
I think that happens in Scrubs.
yeah, you
Yeah,
could say that.
yeah. I hear that that's the most realistic medical anime out there. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I think it happens in that. Let's just say it. Yeah, learn from Scrubs. Society should learn from that show, that documentary. Anyway, the last page for this Akane-banashi is that the boss Zenza, who had previously been like, Akane, you're shit at this. You're not going to get an opening spot. he's like, actually, I hate that Rookie Crusher guy so much, and I trust that you're pretty good, so I'm gonna give you the opening spot right before him, and I want you to do such a good performance that it makes him look stupid because a lower level performer.
I like that you phrase it that way. That makes me pumped up more for it.
Yeah, and I remember last week you're like, "Oh, this could be the end to the series." This I'm like, no, this isn't going to be the end to the series. This
one is a
yeah.
direct cliffhanger. But
Yes,
last time I
direct
was like,
cliffhanger. This, yeah, some of them are it could end. This is like get hyped for next week. She's gonna do a really cool performance.
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it now.
Yes, because
Previously,
the rest of the chapter was basically just the other Rakugoko just being dicks to her.
yeah,
So I'm glad at the end it's like, okay, well here's your new challenge. Go do it.
yeah.
Yep.
63 points from me.
Yeah, good stuff.
Was
Going
fun.
on. We
Next
have something.
manga.
That's the final chapter. Super Smartphone,
Oh,
chapter 23.
already
And-
super smartphone. It's so sugoi.
And they dared to title it Continuation. It's ending.
What a bold
Yeah.
move. What a bold
Very
strategy.
bold.
Let's see if it works out. Oh shit, it
Indeed.
doesn't.
Oh no.
So this chapter kind of flip-flopped around with
Yeah.
if he's revoking his super smartphone or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Won't he?
he doesn't even. This is so weird. He doesn't even explain what.
There's zero
revoking his
explanation about
smartphone-
how him giving up his smartphone is linked to revealing all of Zenichiro's secrets. Unless I missed something last week. Does it say how
Nope.
that's gonna do it?
No, that's literally what we were wondering about. What would happen? What the reveal in this chapter would be?
And it
Like,
was
how is he going to revoke his smartphone and take down Zenichiro at the same time? And the reveal isn't how is he going to do that, but rather how is he going to not do that?
Yes.
Because the solution is that Boken and Ray are looking at the alien guy and are like, oh, this guy is behind everything.
Yeah.
And that makes Ray go like, no, don't do it. And then he doesn't. And that's it.
Ray has her one detective moment where she, somehow not the rest of them, she realizes that the smartphones have personalities based on the deceased loved ones of the smartphone holders.
Which we kind of already knew.
We'd figured out months ago. Although that brings up the thing of what about people like Boken, who both his parents died in a car accident? Does it have a combination of their personalities? Or does it have two voices on his smartphone? And he's like, oh, I wonder what that's about.
It would have been interesting to explore, maybe.
But it was never mentioned because they didn't have time, because they were rushing towards the end. We also get a internal monologue from Zenichiro. Zenichiro refuses to tell Q about what happened to Shu. But he's like, I'm gonna tell the audience. And the explanation is that he killed him. He killed him and he buried him under a construction site. And it was because he wanted to practice killing people before he killed his dad. And somehow, like typically psychopaths who start killing people,
they do it with animals.
First of all, they usually start with animals, and then they go to people who they think society will not miss, like hobos and prostitutes. And then they move on to some target that they have a thing for. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't start out with a kid who has a brother and parents who are still alive. And are
middle-class child that just went out of sight for 5 minutes. Perfect target.
So it makes Zenichiro look like not a particularly smart sociopath.
It's also you the whole time it kind of seemed like Shu had a secret or
Yes.
significance. Like
But it
maybe
was just
he witnessed a murder, or maybe Shu was a special existence. No, it was
no
just like, oh, you were at the wrong time, at the
random,
wrong
completely
day.
random. Yeah. So that was a kind of lame reveal for it, and also this mystery that kicked off the entire series explained in a single page, and then none of the characters get the
Wait,
explanation.
this is the culmination of 50,000 years of human history.
You're right. This is what it's all been leading up that the aliens are
Shu,
so excited
Shu
about.
accidentally going to the toilet in the
Yeah,
park
in the
where you
wrong
only
place.
meet the bad guy.
Yeah,
Sometimes the fat ugly bastard. Sometimes
this
it's
time the
Zenichiro,
killer. Yeah,
the killer.
the killer. And then
And that was the culmination of like the peak of human history.
our entire history all came
Everything
down
led
to
up
that.
to
Our
this moment.
evolution. And then he
You're the
decides.
guy. Wait, you're the guy who built the toilet. You go to heaven,
Mhm.
and you get told like, oh, you did the most important thing in the world. And you're like, really? Wow, what did I do? You made a toilet. It's not like it's not my child that I sight. No, 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 no. It's the toilet.
They are pretty important.
It's stupid. I hate
It's
this.
very
This
stupid.
is well, I don't hate it as much as some of the stuff that happened in Earthchild.
The thing is, I kind of liked the finale of Earthchild because it ended with a nice little epilogue, right?
Yeah.
And then this is, we often talk about like a lot of these series that get canceled in Jump.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be better if instead of trying to wrap up everything in a single chapter, like what Doran Dororan did,
Yeah.
if they just said, oh, well, we're going to just end this chapter, but we might continue it in a different publication.
Yeah.
And that's what this is doing. But
Well, I think
they
it's doing
don't, they
a
leave
half-assed
things,
job at that.
yeah, they leave things open, but they also write it really stupidly how to resolve the current arc.
The
Because
correct way
Q,
to do it, the correct way
mm-hmm,
to do it is just continue business as usual.
yeah,
Reveal all the normal secrets that you had planned, and if you have to stop, just stop. You just got discontinued.
yeah,
And
exactly.
if the fans really like it, they can make a big stink about it on social media, and then maybe you
Right.
get
Then maybe
the
you get it published
continuation
somewhere
you
else.
deserve.
Yeah.
But this is almost the worst way to do it because he killed off several strings of plot just to
Mm-hmm.
get to this point where
Yes.
it's the fake climax of the series where all of the points are supposed to come together. And
And they
instead
don't.
of and they don't, and he's I will give him several points for doing
Mm-hmm.
the our adventure is only just beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it's the way he did it is not worthy of a lot of praise because he killed
Mm-hmm.
he killed, for instance, the part about
The
how
Q or the shoes storyline.
yeah,
That was a big
that,
mystery.
and
No, no,
also
no.
the way how Boken and Ray get involved with Seomizu
Mm-hmm.
and how they can just hang out with her without going like, oh yeah, by the way, we are super smartphone
Yeah,
holders,
you're right.
and oops, our smartphones are gone now.
Mm-hmm.
It just skips over so many important things that were actually interesting in the story. Because this
Yeah.
story is made about how do you get around with the rules that were established.
Yes. Anything that introduces some magical rule set needs to pay close attention to their own rule set. And this series kind of didn't. And that was part of its downfall, I think. Although I think another big part is just that they made it, their main villain is a very confused Reed.
Yeah.
Like you never know like what's going on with this guy. They add a bunch of stuff to him and then just kind of
Take it
forget
away again.
And then here, his actions I didn't think were really that cool, or
Yeah.
because he's like he threatens Q. He says, "Q, jump off of this bridge, or I'll kill everyone you know." And Q's just like, "No." It's like, that's quite a climax. And then Ray, because Boken and Ray started talking to the aliens through this guy who is mind controlled.
Yeah.
And then Ray figures out, oh, the smartphones are the personalities of our deceased family members.
Smartphones are people.
Yeah, she yells it out to Q. Q, no, don't destroy your smartphone. And then Q and Zenichiro find out. They realize that secret about the smartphone.
They should have
and
figured
both
it out.
Both of them are literally shaking at this revelation. For one page, they're literally shaking, and then they're just like, "Oh well, we'll just walk away," and they just turn around and leave. It's extremely anticlimactic. What happens? Because look at them; they're like, "Oh, we just learned such a big thing. This is crazy." Okay, well, we'll just turn around and go away. It's very lame.
Do you have the final shot of all of the warriors?
Of course I do. That was the best part of this chapter. Is it shows everyone their battle is only just beginning, except for this guy, because he's dead unless the aliens respond to Boken's question that yes, they can indeed bring people back to life.
It is something that Zenichiro was trying to find out.
Well, to be continued. I don't know if I'm going to read the continuation.
If there is one.
Yeah, if there is one.
It doesn't seem possible to have a proper continuation of this after the authors ruined so much of the story already. Just in the sprint to get to the premature climax.
Too rushed. Yeah.
The what's it called? When you do it too fast.
Premature ejaculation.
Yeah,
of
that
the
one.
Series. I think premature climax is a fine double entendre for that. You could say that. Anyway, something else that is also rushing to a premature ejaculation. It's Aliens Area.
You could say it's 19. Getting ejected from the magazine.
And in fact, there's some ejection going on in the story itself. This is chapter 19, Broken Windows Theory. So are you familiar with the concept of broken windows theory?
I am. It's when you have a building that is abandoned and then somebody throws a hole into a window. And as soon as other people see that this building now has a broken window, more people will just throw stones at the windows because they're like, oh, if this window is broken and nobody's doing something about it, I can do it more.
It goes beyond that. It's that where there are broken windows are not just a sign of somewhere being lawless with lots of crime, but they are actually a cause of more crime, because criminals who see broken windows will intuit that, oh, no one cared to stop people from breaking the windows or to fix the windows once they're broken. So that means we can do crimes. And I have no idea how that fits in with this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that myself and couldn't find the answer.
Yeah, because this chapter, what happens is that they're just sitting down talking to Yutaka, and he gives them the backstory from his side, which is that Akina had gotten him into A3 after an alien killed his family, and he blames the MIB from letting the alien get away. And he's like, oh, A3 is great because we just go around murdering aliens because all aliens are bad.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked in this part is the transition from them talking to the flashback. Is it shows Tatsumi looking at Yutaka's hand while he's smoking, and it transitions to Akina's hand in the same pose. Like, that's cool. So he learned to smoke from her. So there's a little connection. I know it's.
I learned it from watching you.
So, yeah, exactly. But it's a good transition. There's another series in the same issue that does a very similar transition, and I thought worked a bit better than this. But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
Anyway, so Yutaka explains that after he helped Akina leave A3, he's like, oh, well, even though you got me into this, you were so good to me that I'll let you leave, and I won't tell anybody before you go.
But
then he gets promoted.
It's an interesting motivation that he was like, okay, she's a traitor, but I'm going to help her because she got me into this organization that helped my life, and that I really like. And that's why I'm not going to punish her for betraying us, even though, like, I should.
Yeah.
Even though I'm an extremist enough to actually do it, I won't do it. And then he does it anyway, but for a completely different reason.
Yes, it what happens later, 5 years after he helps Akina leave A3, he gets promoted, and the idiot who promotes him tells him, oh, by the way, at the upper levels, we work with aliens. And you can thank us working with aliens for you being a part of this organization.
Wasn't it isn't the implication that the aliens who killed his parents
were A3?
Were basically A3, and it was all some kind of roundabout recruitment thing where you kill the parents of somebody who you can then snatch up as new members.
That's what
because they get so angry.
That's what it seems like Yutaka took it as, and I was like, it kind of makes sense. But why would you say something that would let him figure that out? Why would you ever do that? It's so stupid of his boss to do. It's like, it's insanely stupid. You wonder how this organization has existed for as long as it has.
It's one thing to be like, oh yeah, by the way, we work with aliens because why else? Why wouldn't we?
How else would we get all the equipment?
Technology. But then it's another thing to be like, oh yeah, and that's also the reason why your parents died, because we did it.
Yeah. It was us all along.
It's the double whammy of, oh, by the way, we don't hate the aliens. We work with them. And somebody who is an extremist would be like, wait, but I want to kill the aliens. Why would I want to work with them? And then the next one is, and also it was all just a plan to get you into this. That doesn't really doesn't make any sense.
It's so stupid. It's like
summarize it.
It's like that guy was actively trying to get him to hate A3 now.
Yeah, when I was reading the chapter, I was like, okay, that's fair. That's better than I expected. But now that we
think about it more, like, it's not better. It's really dumb.
That's the stupidest, actually.
Yeah. So then he explains that
it would have been better. It would have been better if this had come out like once he already accepted the position and somebody else is talking like, hey, but good job, like getting him on this level where he's okay with aliens. But then, like,
I wouldn't be surprised if the original plan was to have a part showing him getting to that leadership position and then finding out that it was A3 behind his family's death through like finding documents or stuff. But the author is like, God, I don't have enough pages to draw that. Just put it in a single dialogue box. Because we have to end this super fast. Because I haven't seen an announcement, but I'm fairly certain this is going to be over in the next week or two. just based on what's going on now.
Yeah, next week is where I expect it to end.
Yeah, this is going towards an ending as well.
Make more room
Yeah,
for
so
Hunter.
then after finding out that A3 probably killed his family, he formulates a revenge plan. He's like, oh well, I still know somehow where Akina is, so I'm going to kill her for A3, but also plant documents back at her place that would lead the Men in Black to the A3 base. And then once they get here, I'm going to blow up the whole place and everyone will die, including me, because I don't care about life anymore. And so all throughout this, Tatsumi is just like staring blank faced because he's supposed to be the main character at the beginning, but he's just not. Sharaku is the main character.
Yeah.
That Sharaku is the one who formulates a plan. I'm going to link my equipment using zero gravity and repulsion, and so then the what do they call it? The hide and seek field.
Yeah.
That goes all around the building. Instead of generating fire, it'll generate repulsion, and it'll just ejaculate the building out of the ground. And then we'll
the
get out
solution
of the
was so
fire.
easy all along.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, I guess he can just do that. His equipment is good enough for that. But also, this is relying on the idea that Yutaka is just going to sit there and be like, I have given up. I will not even do anything against you if you go against my plan to burn all of us. Even though the reason I've given up is because we're going to all burn to death.
The final chapter needs like a little bit more excitement, so they have a small fight, and they do it, and then the day is saved, and then their continue is only just beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a stupid chapter. I didn't like this. They also still never use their implantation powers. So, whatever. Still,
the thing that the first chapter was all about
has just not come up, really.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it's come up, but it's been underused. It's been criminally underused.
Up once.
Yeah.
No, wait, twice.
It got used in the fight
in the
against
chapter.
The assassin.
Has it?
It got used, yeah, because he had to use his arm to be able to defend the princess. It got used in the ninja chapter to throw what's-her-face at the ninja to catch him.
And it happened in the chapter where he was sparring with that girl.
Yes, and then it got mentioned in the flashback chapter. And then it's never used again. Yeah.
That's a really bad summary of the main gimmick of the series.
Yeah, completely unused for like half of
it. You know, I think I know why. The reason why.
Why is that?
He must have been told that in order to make it interesting, every character needs to have like some kind of superpower, right?
Yeah, unique power.
Yeah, but he was like, shit, but then everyone in the MIB would have to have an implant. And it was already a stretch to be like, oh yeah, Sharaku already has one. He never mentions it, but he has one.
Yeah.
And then he was probably figuring out, oh, maybe they just use alien technology to have like super gimmicks, and those could be a thing for every character. And then it focused way too much on those, and he completely forgot that implants even existed.
We've never seen what Sharaku's does.
Right.
Yeah. So, whatever. This is coming to an end, and it never made enough use of its own premise, so I'm not going to really lament its ending very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going on. We get
thanks.
Witch Watch! Chapter 81. Fave Artist File, Crazy Events Arc. I still don't like their circle name.
In Japanese, it's named Oshi Eshi Nishi.
So it kind of rhymes in Japanese.
Yeah, Oshi is
that's better.
Is your fave, the one your like your favorite VTuber. That's your Oshi. Eshi is the artist master, and Nishi is is
A file?
not really. Wait, let me. Nishi is a something like a diary, right? Let me check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a diary.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't wrong.
Okay. That
So
sounds
your
better in
favorite
Japanese anyway.
artist's diary. No, wait, sorry. The artist of your favorite character's diary. The diary of your favorite. No, wait. The diary of the author of your favorite character.
The meaning is convoluted, but the words sound
Words
nicer
remain.
in Japanese. Yeah, they remain. Anyway, this chapter, they finally get to Comic It. And hey, look, Moy is here. He's Nico's bodyguard, so of course he's
Has
gonna tag
to.
along to this dangerous locale of Comic It. And I really like the part where
Too.
he's like, "I'm gonna wander around," and Jaime is like, "No, don't do it."
Kind of wish he had seen something he was not supposed to
She's
see.
trying
But
to protect Moy from the knowledge of what kind of fan comics girls buy.
the thing is, I have a slight suspicion this isn't even supposed to be Comic-Con. It's the same location. This is the big site, Tokyo big
Ah,
site in Ariake. But
okay.
not many people know that Comic-Con isn't the only event that's taking place there. In fact, this is the exhibition, one of the big exhibition sites in Tokyo. There's one next to Disneyland. But this one here is also doing events for other stuff than Comic-Con.
Okay.
Crazy,
Yeah,
I know.
as
It's
they
not
do.
just for the big Comic Con. But
Yeah.
the thing is, there's another comic event that's pretty big that's called Comic City, and that
Same
one
place?
it's not as crowded, and it's much more focused on like singular series. If you
Okay.
are a fan of something like, let's say, Kimetsu no Yaiba or some sports manga, then usually all of the girls will gather in those events, in those sub-events. They call it sub-event, I think. And I'm assuming this is one of those because you don't see them, for instance, having to line up for an eternity, even because even the authors, I think, had to line up
They would have to
for
line up.
pretty
It's
long.
that crowded, huh?
And
Crazy.
you don't see the whole exhibition hall being completely crowded with people who rush in. Even though if it's day 2, it can still get pretty rowdy.
You're doing so much detective work based on what the crowds look like. Ah, this isn't Comic-Con. Anyway, so the first problem they had, I thought they were going to go directly into the problem of the missing speech bubble. But actually first they show that they've accidentally bought way too many copies of their book than they wanted to. Unfortunately, yeah, completely accidentally, because they didn't think they would be very popular. But it turns out to be good because they are unexpectedly popular thanks to social media. And also, Nico is able to use Ensmallen, which we remember from previous chapters, to make the boxes smaller.
It's so nice that for once Nico's spells are useful and don't backfire.
Yeah, it goes perfectly. Then they find the real problem, which is that, oh no, we're missing a speech bubble.
Accidentally saved this text on a different layer.
Yeah.
And then Nico comes up with a perfect solution. Oh, I can just like put it in there.
Yeah.
It's really
I got
easy.
a printing spell. Who would have thought? Takes the color out of one thing and then imprints it.
It almost makes
whatever
it
you
think,
want.
like if they had known this before, maybe they could have had more time. The whole thing, like, okay, we can just give it to the printer with missing pages, and then we can just let Nico do the final pages that were missing this way.
No, that's asking too much of her. It's not good friendship to rely on her that much. That's like,
I think
it's
the
almost
main reason is
abusing
they
your
didn't know
connection
she
to a
could do
witch.
this.
Yeah, that's true. Because nobody knew she could do this. She always pulls out some weird, dumb spell out of nowhere that's fits perfectly the situation. But no one could have guessed that it exists until it's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it just so
Unexpectedly
happens that,
popular.
yeah, but it gets even more popular because something happens.
So Nico accidentally, instead of pointing her hand that's supposed to suck color out of the marker at the marker, she has it pointed at Moy because she just isn't paying enough attention. And
So she gets
she's
all of the
sucked
black
out
pigment out of his
all
hair.
of the color from his hair. And this is exactly when she's mentioning about how he kind of looks like the character from the manga. And then he even becomes a white wing like him.
And then everybody's like, oh, wow, they have a cosplayer for the
Wow.
guy who only just appeared in the chapter that came out last week. That's so
amazing.
fast. And everybody wants a piece of that hot high schooler.
The Oguro
cosplayer.
cosplayer. He's so cool. We'll all go to his table. And even their teacher comes back. She gets there late. She's amazed at how popular they are and that they have a table in a nice spot and a cosplayer selling books for them.
If they sell 1,000 books, they make bank.
Yeah.
They make, I would say, profits of probably 4,000 euros.
Wow. It's a very good weekend for them. And
very
it's a wholesome.
Good.
It's a
now
very
they can donate all of that money
too.
for charity. Like in
well,
Roboco.
they're not. Yeah, I was gonna say this is not Gorilla and Matsuo. At the end, so they do the wholesome thing, like we praised Earthchild for.
They walk home and they are so happy about the whole
all the lights at Comiket are our friends.
Yeah. Do you know that's exactly how I felt?
Oh yeah.
When you go to Comiket, this is it. Recently, there was a convention for Twitch.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard about all that. Yeah.
And
so bad.
Just like DashCon for Tumblr, they had a death pit.
Yeah, people are literally breaking their bones jumping into the TwitchCon foam pit.
And
it's so bad.
You hear so many more horror stories from that convention.
Yeah,
not just
I also saw things about like people having heat stroke and fainting in lines because they didn't have enough space. Like you're normally supposed to space out the lines that go into a room for like meet and greets, and they didn't do that, so everyone was just like super packed together, and people were like collapsing with heat stroke.
Are ripe for like a stampede where people get trampled to death or just squeezed to death. And
yeah,
didn't something like that also happen in one of those concert with one of those weird rappers who are in Fortnite?
Oh yeah,
they got removed from the game because they caused multiple people to die.
I remember that. I'm trying to remember who it was. I remember there was a concert and the headlining rapper at the concert already had a bunch of people mad at him because of some questionable lyrics that made some antis be like, this guy is satanic. And then he had a concert and he kept telling people to come closer to the stage. And
closer to the giant mouth of Satan.
Come closer. Ha ha ha, my children, come closer to the stage of hell.
And then people died.
People were literally getting crushed to death trying to get closer to the stage.
And I'm only mentioning this because I want to say I think it's unimaginable for something like that happening at Comiket.
Because everyone's a friend.
Because everyone's a friend. Well, that maybe not true. And at the beginning, things do get a little bit
rowdy,
but never in a way that I would be scared and afraid of getting crushed or something like that. And it's always within the boundaries of like only walk in the specified areas and don't do something illegal and don't use violence. Obviously, a lot of people, since it's held in summer,
Mhm.
People do sometimes collapse from heat stroke, but there's always organizational stuff that gets help to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in all of those lines, there's so many helpers, and some of them are like military otaku and do
Mhm.
the whole drill sergeant, like sit here in Guantanamo Bay
That's
and
funny.
get grilled on the pavement. But all in all, everybody's there for the same goal. Everybody wants to
Right.
buy the hot new doujinshis.
Mhm.
And I think
They all
that
have a
uniting
mutual understanding.
yes, that uniting motivation is so strong. You rarely get anything like that from another event because
Yeah.
a lot of times, like for instance,
The
at a concert,
disasters, you don't
people
get
are
those.
either there for the music or they want to do
The drugs.
the drugs or they want to let loose and what's it called, the pogo, do the
Pogo.
pogo thing,
Mosh pit.
mosh pit, yeah.
Mosh pit.
Or some people hope that they end up having sex with the performers.
Yeah.
But at Comic Cat, you only have one goal:
Get book.
get book. Sometimes sexy book,
That's
but
right.
still same goal, and that's really a unifying feeling. And you
Mhm.
probably won't be able to replicate that anywhere else because anywhere else people will get rowdy.
Yeah.
This can only happen in Japan. This can only happen with something like comic books,
Mhm.
fan-made comic books.
Yeah. Other things
That's why
will not
it's a very
not
special
have this level of
occasion.
purity. Have you seen those clips from the 90s of when there was like a Star Trek convention across the street from a
Yeah.
Star Wars convention?
No.
And
Do they fight?
people, yeah, people dressed like Jedi were literally brawling with Federation officers in the streets.
No.
It was very sad.
No. They're supposed to be the
Didn't want that.
civilized future.
I know, but they didn't live up to the to what they were. Maybe it was Klingons. It would make more sense if it was Klingons actually,
But
because
that's
they're
still
into the
stupid.
yeah.
It's kind of
It's
like you
still
hear horror
stupid.
stories from Deadpool cosplayers because they
Mhm.
always try to like
Oh yeah, they want to be the funny one. Every Deadpool cosplayer is like, oh, I'm gonna be the funny one at the con, but they are often just the cringe one.
ah.
Anyway, at the
Anyways,
end of this chapter, hmm
yeah,
I really liked it.
I
Did
like
you
it.
like it as not as much as One Piece?
69 points.
Nice.
It could have
I,
been a little bit more exciting, but the
mhm.
wholesomeness was really good.
It's very wholesome. One thing I thought that was a missed opportunity at the very end was when Nico tries to give Moy his hair, his color back.
It's
So
brown.
she gives him color from coffee and makes it brown. So Moy has had a lot of makeovers. He even points out like, oh, I had the
Recently,
whitening
yeah.
waved hair and then the white hair, now brown hair. I was like,
I
oh,
think
there's a missed opportunity for a gag when
I would have.
she could have taken the color out of somebody's cola, and then someone would be
Uh,
shocked, like, ah, they brought Crystal Pepsi back. But no, it was just Nico.
I would have loved this chapter way more if
Mhm.
Moy had wandered around the event and seen an erotic book.
Yes, and been like, what? What is this? They should actually. This should have been two chapters. You could have one chapter where they sell really well, and then one chapter where Moy learns about the content of the books being sold here.
Moy would look at it and be like, "I don't get it, but I respect it."
Hmm.
And then Nico from off panel would be like, "Wow, that's such a nice reaction, even though I'm still embarrassed about you seeing this."
Hmm. Yeah, and then she would secretly want to buy them.
Yes, because the character looks like Moy.
Yeah. Anyway,
See,
going on.
this is why we need to be in charge, even of the series that we love, because we can still come up with really good ideas about
Put us in, coach.
what would make it better.
Next up, we got Blue Box,
Oh
chapter
no, not
73.
Box.
That's what I know. Tell me about
Okay,
this.
So, this is a chapter where it takes place at night. Taiki sees the basketball team and meets Matsuoka for the first time in person. Usually, they always just talk about him, but he's like, "Oh,
There he
where's
is.
Chinatsu-senpai?" And this is such a red flag where he approaches the basketball team. Right? Nobody on the team really knows who he is. And if he asks where's Chinatsu-senpai, like everybody would be like, why would you want to know where she is? This is the most popular girl on the team, and everybody loves her. And so that's why Matsuoka is going like, oh, are you a fan of her too as well? And Taiki is boiling. He's so angry that this hot hunk himbo dude is treating him as if he was just like an underclassman who has a crush on her, which is true. And Taiki is like, this asshole, he's already acting as if he's her boyfriend. And then Chinatsu-senpai's friend, the prince girl, is like, well, why are you acting like her boyfriend? And he's like, oh, am I? And Taiki's like, oh, you motherfucker. I'm above you. I already live with Chinatsu-senpai. You got nothing on me. But I can tell you, and that's why I'm super angry.
I want to say it. I want to let him know, but I can't.
So it turns out that Chinatsu-senpai was still jogging while everybody else was already in relaxation mode. And he's like, oh no, now I'm getting worried about her.
She's so diligent.
Jogging at night in the mountains. No. I now have to also jog and hope that I maybe run into her. So I have another moment with her that
alone, apart from everyone else.
And while he's jogging, he thinks about like, oh, I've had a lot of thoughts, and it seems like none of them are my own. Because now he reflects on other people commenting on his relationship, like Kyo being like, well, couldn't you maybe have mixed feelings about multiple people? And Ayame going like, well, if somebody already likes me, that's better than me liking somebody because things might happen and I have a better shot. And he's like, no, that's not what love is. These guys are wrong. And then he meets Chinatsu-senpai completely randomly on the street, and she's carrying an old woman.
Took so long.
That's why it took so long. But how unrealistic is this? I always say I hate how this is too realistic, but this is not. You can't do this.
Just walking around with an old lady on your back.
Yeah, you just find an old lady. Of course you bring her back home because she can't walk anymore, right? That's what you do.
It's like carry her. She's learning the ways of the Force.
If this old woman looked more like Yoda,
you would have liked it more.
Would have liked it more.
Yeah.
This is I think this is going way too far into all of the fairy tales do this. Yeah, this is how you show that this person is super mega nice and not a bad person at all. Super, super respectable, adorable, worthy of all the miracles that might come her way. And Taiki looks at it and is like, that's why I love her. And then he has this full page laugh that I would say is not worth of a full page.
Yeah.
If he was wearing anything else besides a white t-shirt, maybe.
And the background is white, even though it's at night.
Yes, if there was a background, maybe. If even the color of his t-shirt had more detail, because you know how a collar has like these small lines usually. Like maybe, but this is kind of pissing me off. This is almost the same as when
leaving a page blank to demonstrate an amazing move.
And then finally he's like, no, now I know. My favorite color is blue. I only like cola without mixing it with Fanta. That's how I know that I only love Chinatsu-senpai and not.
He's made a decision. plot has happened.
Everybody in the comments was like, this is so perfect and pure and stuff, and I'm looking at it like, you motherfuckers.
You're the only one who hates it.
I mean, I gave it 56 points. It wasn't
okay.
shit.
You don't hate
But
it.
It's. I don't agree with everything that it's saying or doing, and the way it's doing.
Yeah.
I like it more when the different characters and their motivations come together, and you could say that him finding his own way, that's okay. Like rejecting all of the character development that has been established so far through conversations with other characters, that is kind of progress, but also like him not taking that into account, being like, no, I was right all along. All of this input was wrong. It feels like a step backwards, even though it's something that I would normally like.
Too bad. Well, hopefully they can have their little romance and it'll end on a high note. Going on, much like Witch Watch, Roboco is also about selling manga. Chapter 109, Jump Plus and Roboco. And
I would say this is another product placement chapter.
Yes, product placement for Jump Plus. But I did like the little explanation that Bondo said about Jump Plus, because it reflects sort of what our conceptualization of it was.
Yeah. Everybody, we're in the know.
Yeah, because Ruri has gotten a series into Jump Plus, and she's showing off to them. Also,
then they talk about
a little
Jump Plus and how good it is, and what the system is.
There's all these great creators who have come out of Jump Plus, and Roboco sneakily puts the name of her own author next to everyone else.
But it's true.
Bondo's like, don't put his name next to them.
No, it's true. But the thing is, I can kind of respect how it's trying to sell Jump Plus to the audience that might have not already.
Yeah, that might not even know that it's there if you're only reading a physical magazine.
Even though the magazine, you don't see this in the digital version, but the printed version always has so many ads for stuff that's running in Jump Plus. Like, hey, don't you know we also have Jump Plus? Don't you want to read Jump Plus? Jump Plus is pretty good. It has these series that are only running in Jump Plus.
Now we have an entire chapter that's an ad for Jump Plus.
And I mean, I agree that we should promote Jump Plus more. And I also agree that with the rest of the message of the chapter. I'm just kind of like getting jaded when Roboco is doing a product placement chapter, because it's
too many.
Almost doing so many.
Yeah. It's almost become its thing, right?
It's kind of like when a YouTuber constantly just talks about
Raid,
chilling
Legends,
and how much money he's making just because he's constantly talking about Crunchyroll and how Crunchyroll is the best because it has all of the animes that you probably want to watch, and if you use the Crunchyroll code, then you get something off, and he gets money from that, and then he gets invited to be a judge for the anime championship thing where they only give the most popular series an award.
All the fandom events, English language fandom events.
And then you complain on the internet about like how you can't dress yourself for the event and need to ask your girlfriend, who has a very masculine voice, suspiciously, for the event. And
I feel like you're talking about something that's happened.
No, this is
too specific of a hypothetical.
I'm not talking about a specific person. This is just your imagination.
Any similarities to persons alive or deceased is purely coincidental? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, this is purely coincidental. Just like when you open up the manga and it says this is fiction and all of the similarities. That's the thing.
Yeah.
This is
everyone depicted in this manga is over 18 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the description of Jump Plus versus the main magazine that we've talked about before, and Bondo explains it to readers.
It's a
Think
good
that-
comparison. It's
Yeah.
a good explanation.
On Jump Plus, you get flexibility and more challenging content. While in the main magazines, you get struggle and tradition. And we've talked about how that can lead to the death of many series because authors get into it and can't handle the struggle. It's too frenetic.
Master creating his own rival.
Yeah.
I like the visualization with God and Piccolo.
Uh-huh.
And I guess
It's very classic.
Mihawk and Zoro.
I like that one.
But
it's not as direct as
I
the
wish
Piccolo
the
one.
the third example would have been
Should have been a
something
different
that's
series.
not, yes,
Yeah,
it should
not
have been
Dragon Ball.
different. I want more than just Dragon Ball references.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I like the Piccolo one and the Zoro one. Those are good references. And we get to see Ruri's manga, and hilariously, the main characters are very clearly supposed to be herself and Bondo.
And Bondo is reading it, and he's like, "Wow, this is so good." Without
he doesn't
going
notice.
My feelings for Ruri are blossoming after
Didn't
reading this.
notice at all.
I can't explain why, but I somehow feel like I like her at 30% now.
I've been inspired by this manga
100%.
to like Ruri more.
Yeah, it had a really nice message afterwards where Ruri gets really...
she gets anxious about reading the comments because she saw some negative ones. But then Bondo points out to her that, hey, you know, you might get a few haters in the comment, but there's a lot more people who are in the comments supporting you.
And also, there's so many people in the world, you are bound to get a few people who dislike what you're doing. Yeah. And seeing that people comment that they dislike it is proof that you've reached a bigger audience. Mm-hmm. Because you've not just made it in the small circle of people who would like blow sugar up your ass.
Your friends who are always going to say, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah. You even managed to get to the haters, and that's proof that you're good. Mm-hmm. I like that lesson.
Yeah. Would you say that? Would you say that? Would you repeat that lesson to the authors of series that we were disappointed in, like Super Smartphone and Earthchild?
I mean, in a way, because the fact that they made it into Jump in the first place,
that we were able to read you, even if we didn't like the product.
It's proof that they somehow made it career-wise, but also if they're not good enough, that's still like a good opportunity to reflect on themselves and become better. And that's the lesson that Roboco teaches us when she's like, oh, I also have a series in Jump Plus, and everybody's like, this is shit.
It's a very wholesome ending because Roboco also does a series in Jump Plus, and as a Roboco series is terribly drawn, and you've seen it before, so I'm not going to show it, but she gets just constant bad comments about how it sucks. Then they find, oh, here's a good one.
It's all of the names from her Twitter. And when you pay attention, you notice, oh shit, Nappa's knees. Yeah. That's Roboco's name.
And they point that out, and Roboco's like, actually, that was me. And then they scroll further, and they're like, no, it's not just you. Look at this one. It's also positive. And then Roboco's like, Bondo, that's you, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
But she gets one more.
They find a way. They find the one comment that's not from themselves, that's positive. And then Roboco realizes that every time she's written a manga, she got one fan letter. Writing fan letter. Yeah, and encouraging her to keep drawing.
But is the implication that that's Ruri?
Is it?
I can't tell. It might be. And I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
I think it would be better if it's not.
Yes, because it gives Roboco encouragement, and
I don't think it is, because Roboco used her Shinigami eyes to determine that the one comment was Bondo.
Yeah.
So if it was Ruri, she would have been like, I recognize the name of this one. This is you too, isn't it? It's
Right.
got to be someone that they haven't met, which makes it more wholesome. That there is someone out there who actually is encouraging of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
it's
then the
like,
final page is her just being like, I enjoy manga again.
yeah,
That was so wholesome. I liked it.
it's very wholesome. A chapter that's encouraging people to keep drawing. Makes me want to try making a
74
manga.
points means it's my
Good
second
score.
favorite chapter in this issue.
Wow. Good job, Roboco. Going on, we get more training arc in Black Clover, chapter 341. Hazy. Yeah, so we get 3 new Wano characters to train with. There's 2 ninjas and a fat monk-looking guy. And the female ninja is very gyaru-looking, and I'm like, I wonder when it was that they started making the brightly colored female ninjas and stuff.
He was
Instead
the
of
one.
having them, yeah.
She started the trend.
Who
The
was it?
monk? The monk even goes like, wow, maybe it's no wait, is he the one who said that? It might
Well,
start a
the
trend.
masked ninja says that he doesn't like her style because it's too
Yeah.
gaudy and unstealthy, and then the monk is like, "No, it's great because maybe you can distract people with it because it's so arousing." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's kind of got the right idea there."
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
called Sexy Commando. And
That
it's
was the
the
origin.
secret technique to it's the martial arts that relies on distracting your opponent with something so unexpected that they will leave an opening.
Is that the series with a main guy who wears panties on his head?
No, that's
Okay.
hentai kamen.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
I'm referencing Sexy Commando Gaiden Tsugoyo Masaru-san. One of the earlier series by Usuta Sensei, the guy who made Kyuto Fukujaga.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was by him, and it even got an anime that a lot of
Yeah.
people mysteriously know because it's just so wacky.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it
I
had
recognize
one
it
of the
looking it
best
up.
openings.
I've never watched it, but I have seen images of this before. Anyway,
Opening is so good.
I'll have to look it up
Watch
after
the
this.
Sexy Commando Gaiden opening. It's so good.
All right, everyone, that's your homework. Homework for this week. Watch the Sexy
because it's a
Commando
big
Gaiden
parody of
opening.
I think what's the anime? Nurse Angel Lilica or something. Because the director is the same, I think, and he was just remaking his own opening of a somewhat serious magical girl
But
series.
silly, yeah.
But with the stupid characters from Sexy Commando, and it becomes ridiculous, and I love it.
I'm sure. Anyhow, so Asta is sparring with all these people to learn the ways of Zetten, and he's just constantly getting his ass kicked because he's just not used to fighting with it.
Asta doesn't know how to control his ki yet.
Yeah, Asta is very small brain, so he's like hurting his head trying to think about how to use Zetten, and we're like, oh, you could do 2 attacks with this much power, or you could do 5 attacks and each one of them has less power, but you do it faster. This is hurting my head. And then Ichika shows up while he's thinking hard about how to do this stuff. And they have a little talk. She mentions that first of all, there's this dialogue that's clunky in English. I assume that in Japanese he's asking whether to call her Ichika-san or Ichika-chan.
Because she looks like she's a small baby child.
Yeah, but it turns out she's older than him. But it comes out quite clunky in English because there's no honorifics in that same way.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those cases people make fun of translations where it just leaves something in Japanese and has a translator's note. This is one of those times that it would have been appropriate and made it actually an easier read.
I think I'm most thrown off just by the fact that he's using Ms with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
instead of just Miss.
I wonder if that's him like combining honorifics into some weird one.
No, what Ms. is the political correct version of Miss because Miss implies you're a woman who's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
married.
I mean, in the Japanese, what would he be saying?
Son.
Mm-hmm.
It's that
Boring.
easy.
Yeah. So
He was just wondering if you should use son or chan or
yeah,
nothing.
and he landed on Sun. Yeah. So this whole page is just basically to let us know that
That
she's not a
she's
kid. She's
that she's
older
an
than
adult
Asta.
woman who's
Yes.
old enough to be looted.
Exactly. This is a message. This is a message to all the fan artists before they go to Comic-Con. Like, hey,
Disregard that she has a very youthful face and that
hey,
she has a big brother.
our characters are over 18, so you're good, fan artists.
Nice.
Yeah. Then she talks about how great Ryua is. He's the best shogun. He united Wano.
It
Because
sounds
even
like
though
he
he
already
doesn't
had
have
so
any
many
mana,
adventures on his own
yeah,
that we don't get to see, and we only
we'll
have to
never know
assume.
about.
We'll never know.
But he's great because, like Asta, he has no mana, but he does have a special ability that no one else has. Asta has his anti-magic, and Ryuya has his Tengetsu, which allows him to apparently see anywhere.
Sounds like it.
And yeah, it's a really good ability.
Yeah.
So he used that and just his natural charisma to become a really great shogun. And Ichika also describes him as her benefactor. And it makes Asta perk up like, you think of him as your benefactor. He's like,
Almost as
his
if I'm
brain is working so hard here. He's like, I'm gonna bond with her. I know exactly what to do. I'm gonna bring up how her brother is like, he's like my Shogun Ryuya. He's like, oh, your brother. He was my benefactor. He's a really great guy. I love him so much. Only to learn that actually Ichika hates Yami, and she considers him like the Itachi of their village.
Yeah.
She blames him for killing their entire clan.
Entire clan just to see how strong he is.
Just to measure his fish. And I mentioned before that the transition to flashback in Alien's area was a little bit like something in something else, but not as good. And this is it. I like this transition better because the Alien's area cigarette hand transition was like between two panels on the same page. It was kind of small, and you didn't even notice it. This is flip the page, and you get her eye when she actually was a child. After the zoom in on her eye when she's talking
this is
to
going
Asta.
to work much better in anime form.
Yeah, it's I like it. It's a good transition.
Okay.
So looking forward to next week. What is going to be the backstory with Yami destroying his clan? How did that happen?
66 points.
Almost nice. I gave
it 66.6. It would be 666, and that would be very, very on brand for.
Yeah, Asta with his devil transformation.
Shows.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Next, we have Sakamoto 2 days.
Oh, today.
I always think it's funny when they format it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the meaning behind the title all along.
Mm-hmm.
It was never Sakamoto Days. It was Sakamoto Days.
Yeah. This page makes me think it should be a ranking.
Ball. Oh yeah.
Ranking,
well,
popularity poll.
Yeah, the character popularity poll. That's the blue area on the right with the pink writing in it.
Okay. So it's like
that's the.
Please rank these characters.
Yeah, in commemoration of the 2nd anniversary, our very first character popularity poll is being held right now, and you can You can win a key holder.
Ooh, go vote and get a nice key holder. Who are you voting for?
I voted for what's her name? Osaragi, the goth girl from the
yes.
Order.
I do like her.
Yes.
Is that her in the background? She doesn't have a veil.
Well, because she's riding a motorbike, you can wear that.
This is a
That's
fantasy.
her. You can tell because she's
You can do
always
whatever you
wearing the
want.
lacy thing on top.
The lacy top, yeah. It's her signature look. Yeah, I like her look a lot. It's very different from everyone else.
Personality is also good.
I was gonna say most people have more practical styles, but lately we've been getting a lot of Slur's team who look kind of ridiculous.
No, but her personality is also good, so that's why design good, personality good.
Yeah,
all of her scenes were usually an improvement through her, so that's why I would definitely vote for her. I can't think of anybody who ticks all of the boxes, just like her.
Yeah, me neither. She's a good addition to the cast. And is this a volume cover? Yeah, volume 9.
Looks also very good because it has another new edition.
We haven't seen her for a while.
Characters. Well, we haven't seen her in a while, but she's one of the better characters that got newly introduced. And she even has she has a very good pose. The coloring is very good. And it even has the Sakamoto Buddha behind her.
Yes. Was that from her imagination?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I like this. I like this volume cover.
So this is one of the better
when we see her again, is she going to have a Slur mascot on her bag to replace Sakamoto?
Let's hope this doesn't happen.
That's how you tell which team she's on. Getting
Shin is going to look at her and be like, "No, wait, she has a different Oshi."
Oh no. So anyway,
none of us anymore.
Yeah. So in this chapter, shit, did I take screenshots of it?
Doesn't really matter because this chapter was just one big action scene that was pretty good.
Big fight scene. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a really cool moment when Akira attacks Kanaguri because it gets confirmed by Sakamoto, like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you, but your aunt is dead. Yeah. Then Kanaguri is like, oh, I'm not going to kill you because I think you're a cool character for a movie. And he's like, wait, a one-armed beauty going out for revenge. That could be a compelling character. It's like, oh shit, he's going to cut off her arm just for his movie.
He tries to be the one who's put in charge.
Yeah, he wants to be Horikoshi with his fetish of blowing off Mirko's limbs with Akira. But fortunately, Sakamoto stops him. It's like, no, don't do that. And the level of disrespect, he blocks the film clapper that he has with his own camera. So he's like, Kanaguri's like, you made me crush my own camera.
Now I have no more motivation.
Yeah, he starts running away. And I also like, because we talked about before, like, oh, if he has no camera, is he going to be weaker? Because all his skills are film-based. And yes, he is. He's like, I'm just going to run away if I don't have a camera.
Maybe because he doesn't want to fight anymore.
Yeah, he's like, if I can't film it, there's no point to me fighting.
Yeah.
But then they're...
Interesting turn of events.
Yeah. Some of the students at the assassin school pull out their cell phone cameras, and he's like, I've just found cameras. It's one of those events where like, shit, now the bad guy has the upper hand once more.
I think that maybe he would have had other cameras at his disposal already. But
yeah, backup cameras.
This makes for an interesting turn of events where he is out of options and then he suddenly finds
something
many
in the
options.
Environment. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you get a character getting an advantage that's very convenient, but it makes sense. So it doesn't feel like a contrivance because you're like, oh yeah, definitely. If a school of assassins saw people fighting, they wouldn't run away because they're all into that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
they would definitely be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna film this. It's cool." So, yeah, he
He's
gets
talking shit about Sakamoto because
yes,
Sakamoto is a fatty,
yeah.
and then Sakamoto gets
He
into
goes
serious mode.
he goes thin mode, the choji weight loss mode. Kanaguri is like, "Oh, you're doing your magic makeup," but no, this isn't just makeup.
You want to be in my movie so bad?
Hmm.
Be my guest. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit disappointed that Kanaguri didn't pull out his stand powers that I always say he has.
You always say he has stand powers, but he hasn't used them. Maybe he's just forgotten, like Tatsumi. He kind of forgot.
No, it's worse. It's kind of like when uh, 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 Araki
Hmm.
forgets that he established, for instance, that Giorno's plants and life forms, that when you attack
Hmm.
them, they
Oh yeah,
shoot
they
the
reflect
attack
damage
back.
to you.
That never
Yeah,
happens
and then
again.
they never, it never gets
or
brought
when
back.
or when they are in the plane and Notorious B.I.G. attacks and he sees writing of himself, and he's like, wow, where's this coming from? Doesn't get explained.
That's the sort of thing that you'd think you might try to fix when you get an anime. You'd go
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this when I was
No, it all
writing it
becomes
originally,
part of
so
the
I'll
charm.
fix it." But then
Everybody
yeah,
loves
everyone's
these.
gotten used to it. So like, no, that's how it has to be. Anyway, how would you
So
rank
many.
this one? It was like
Um,
basically just battle, but I liked it a lot. I would say this is
73, one
yeah,
below Roboco. The wholesomeness one out, but it's still a very
yes,
good chapter.
one of the best in
Third
this issue.
highest of the issue for me.
Nice. Uh, Going on, next we have the Elusive Samurai, chapter 82, Kojiro.
This is the second
So,
lowest for me.
so this, okay, because I was going to say, like, I didn't think it was terrible, but I was not wowed by this battle sequence, unlike the Sakamoto one. It begins, it's like almost stepping on the ending of last week's chapter. Because last
Right.
chapter, Iwamatsu had the really cool final words of I'm not
He
gonna
shot them from
say
the other
anything.
side.
I'll shout my final words from the other side. And then this time he's bleeding out, and he's like, "Oh, actually, I do have a bunch of final words. I have no regrets, and I liked serving the Ashikaga and going around getting chicks, and yeah, it was a splendid dream." And then he dies. It's like I thought you weren't gonna have any more last words.
He ruined it.
Yeah, he ruined it. He's still got no regrets. So after he dead, we get a little bit of flashback with Kojiro and his dad, and it
And
I guess
Kara.
he's not his real dad. He's adopted.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
this was established.
what does Kagemusha mean?
That's the basically the double that you use in order to protect the president. Like when
Ah,
an
okay.
assassin comes and kills the double, you're like, haha,
Yeah.
you only
But
killed the double.
the real son died, so he's like, you gotta take his place now. Is that it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a famous movie by Akira Kurosawa named Kagemusha about this
Oh, okay.
happening,
All right.
where the doppelganger has to take the place of the shogun, I
Ah.
think.
I saw a recommendation of a TV show that was like not quite that, but sounded kind of interesting. Where there's a guy who's an escaped convict,
Mm.
and he takes the identity of a guy who gets killed in like a car crash or something. And then it turns out that that guy had just been hired to be a sheriff.
Oh,
So then he has to go and pretend to be a cop to be able to keep living with that guy's name. And
I mean,
eventually
why not? Might as
he
well.
ends up yeah. People are like, "Oh, our new sheriff, he's kind of he's a bit brutal. Do we really want him to be our sheriff?" And he has to learn how to be a good cop. And that's a story. I forget
That
what it's
sounds
called,
like an
but yeah,
interesting
it was a
premise.
recommendation. Uh, anyway, so Kojiro is like, yeah, I'm gonna fight because I love Tokiyuki so much, even though he catches smaller fish than I do. It's like
It's a metaphor
home.
for their peepees. Look,
Yeah.
my master has such a small peepee. I have big
Mhm.
peepee.
So I have to
This
pee
is how it
for
should
him.
be.
Is that it? But yeah, it's a little bit like Jinta saying, "Ah, I found a place to call home because of the people I'm with now, even though
Peepee
I'm
I
not
live
really related." So that gives him motivation. Meanwhile, the enemy Twink is like, "I'm gonna do a sneak attack," even though he,
motivation when you see the small peepee of your master.
yeah, that's motivating. Never would have
Sure.
thought it. No, maybe to
Wow,
the
I'm bigger.
to ancient warriors. Yeah.
No, it must be. Even this transcends time and space.
The small PP respect for command.
It
I'll follow you
probably makes,
anywhere
like,
with
when
your
you
small
see that
PP.
your master has small peepee and you're bigger, that makes you feel very confident. Like, maybe I'm not so bad after all.
If he could rise to be such a great man with such a small PP,
What does that say about me?
yeah.
Maybe I can be the bigger man.
Wow, how inspiring. Anyway, yeah. So the Ashikaga forces are going to flank the Suwa army, while everybody is busy watching the Shibukawa versus Kojiro duel.
Yeah.
And Shibukawa notices this and is like, "No, my own guys are doing something sneaky. That's so unfair. It's so bad." He totally hates it.
Yeah.
And the twink guy on the Ashikaga side, he recognizes that. He's like, it's okay if he gets so mad he cuts off one of my arms. This is like the
This is
best
fine.
chance we
This
have
is
to
the
win.
price that
Yeah, the
I can
price I will pay for victory here. And he also plans like, we're gonna flank them and surprise them, and while everyone's looking to the surprise attack, we're just gonna shoot Tokiyuki and Kojiro, even though they're supposed to be having a duel.
would be easy.
It would be really easy, but that doesn't happen because it then just goes back to the duel, and Kojiro very stupidly tells Shibukawa, "Don't look at the battle at all, which would weaken you because you notice that your side is being unfair too.
It was also
Just
part of their plan.
just focus on fighting me." Like so many of the moves these kids have been making have been to make their job harder.
It goes back and forth between we have to be dishonorable to beat this honorable guy, and
Mhm.
okay, we will
We'll just
entertain
do it
his honor
directly,
thing.
yeah. We'll play by his rules and somehow win. And the final attack he does, it just doesn't make any physical sense.
Yeah,
Because Shibukawa does his launcher to Kojiro
his
and kicks him
dust
into the
attack.
air. Yeah, does his dust attack. So he starts spinning, and then Kojiro does this thing where he's like, "Well, I'm going to block his sword in a way that makes me spin as well." And I'm
Yeah,
looking at these panels like, doesn't look like that would work.
doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all
There is a reason why I gave this chapter only 50 points.
because the fighting in it was dumb.
It's
And
barely okay.
it's a duel.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't look good. I don't care about the characters. The other stuff that's going on the sidelines is more interesting, but they
Yeah,
say no, don't pay attention to that.
yeah.
This is more important.
Look at
And
this
then
duel that doesn't make no sense.
yeah. And it's
Yeah,
missing the one ingredient that always makes me appreciate Elusive Samurai more, which is
Tokiyuki huffing
Tokiyuki
puffing.
sweating and panting.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of that at all. He just calmly watches on where's the page where he calmly watches the duel? Whatever.
Doesn't
He's just
matter.
sitting there. He does nothing. There's like no Tokiyuki in this except for him having the small
All
PP. That's
PP.
it. That's all we get for Tokiyuki this time.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
50 points.
RIP Shibukawa.
You won't
That's
be missed.
Yeah, seems like that's the end of this gang of Ashikaga quirky mini bosses.
Well, they still have the horse guy
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
and
Guy who eats horses.
the guy who eats grass
Mm-hmm. And the twink.
and the twink.
But the
The
horse
most
guy and the guy
important.
who eats grass were like they weren't as interesting. The coolest guy, the very normal guy, is
Yeah.
already dead. He's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, going on. Last manga.
What's next?
PPP.
Oh, PPPPPP. Okay, so last week Sadame was going to play the his thing in the style of Fanta, which summons the amusement park, but then he realizes, oh, I can't do it. And the illusion falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it's depicted is on the previous page, you see the amusement park slightly becoming more transparent on one side. And then on this page where it completely vanishes, it just
Mm-hmm.
has black panels where it says nothingness.
Oh no!
Also, Sadame starts
So
bleeding from
lazy.
his nose because he's putting so much effort into it, and
He's using too many psychic powers.
yeah, and everybody looks at it and is like, "Oh, that's too bad. It wasn't as good." And
Mm-hmm.
even the teachers who are like all on Lucky's team's side are like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, that's a bummer. Let's vote for Sorachika."
Okay.
And this guy shows up again and gives his comment. And the other teachers are like, "Is it okay for you to be here?" And I'm like, "Yes, finally somebody
That's an
points it out.
alien.
That's an alien." And then they're like, "Won't your fans make a scene?" I'm like, "No, this guy can't have
No.
fans. This guy is a menace to the human race."
Going on to A3 side, seeing whenever
Yeah.
you see this guy.
So it turns out that everybody voted against Sadame. He
Mm-hmm.
got 0
Wow!
points.
Unanimous decision.
That's yeah. And then Sadame gets confronted by Melody, who is like, "Oh, do
Mm-hmm.
you enjoy stealing from people? I think it would be better if you were doing an original thing, and that just
Even though his
adds
whole
to
thing is being really good at copying.
yeah."
Yeah.
So
Oh, dumb.
that's really all. They
Mm-hmm.
the next chapter is going to have Lucky's performance, and he's going to probably show something to Fanta that he's
Mm-hmm.
going to that's going to change his mind, and then he might as
Okay.
well forfeit the fight because he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you've shown me, I give up," and then he
You can
won't
already
have.
see. You can see into the future.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have future sight.
All right.
Uh, or maybe not. Let's get surprised maybe.
Yeah.
But either
Yeah.
way, I
Maybe
didn't like
surprise.
it. This is 20 points. This is shit.
Sad. At least it had this girl with this very cool looking hairstyle here.
No, this is one of the minus points. I have
Going
one more
on.
thing to say.
Oh yeah. Tell me.
One final thing. There is
Mm-hmm.
well, the next manga is one shot
One shot.
by
Neon
somebody.
Vampire.
Can you read me the name of the author?
Is that it at the bottom?
Yes.
TSCR.
Do you know what that
Oh,
stands for?
what's that stand for?
Tissue cream.
So this is someone they got from Comic Cat, I expect.
Sounds like it,
Who's
right?
writing the books that Moy doesn't know about yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get away with that, but I guess. Also, how do you
Oh
get
yeah, I see
away with?
the katakana at the bottom.
Yeah, how do you get away
Tissue
with
cream.
this thing that I was hinting at the beginning?
What was the
Look
thing
how
you were hinting
stumpy
at?
they are.
Oh, they look fine. This is a perfect
No,
perspective shot.
no, these characters should be longer, and it's all due
I
to the fact
think
that the author insisted on showing their feet.
yes. Yeah,
You don't have to
a
show
shoe
their
cutter.
feet. It would have been way better to just
I
make their
think
bodies a little bit longer.
I think this is the fault of the placement of the title because it looks to me actually the guy's right leg looks completely different length than his left leg.
Yeah,
You see that like
yeah,
it's going like straight down there. That don't make sense. The
yeah.
girl, I'm like, okay, well, she she's clearly crouching over. So her knees are there, they're going back. So like if you say that this is a bit if this is like a high angle, then I can understand her stance very well, even with the title in place. But then this guy, like his left leg, like okay, I can see
He has it angled. He has his knee bent,
here
and
it's angled and bending, and then his right leg is straight, and it's like half the length of it.
yeah.
It looks so bad, that right leg. What the hell?
I'm a little bit disappointed because the promo shot of this character that you also see on the cover of the magazine is a completely different style. And you can see that this one is also colored. So I have no idea what happened here. Because then you go through the chapter itself. It's about a girl who's kind of like a YouTuber who's doing detective work, and she's investigating
so she's like
missing. Yeah, kind of. She's investigating missing girls from her school, and it's rumored that it's a vampire. And then she is like, "Well, it has to be this guy who looks like a vampire." She invites him to eat steak with him, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, okay. I'll go eat steak with you if you're paying." Something that bothers me is that, first of all, his hairstyle is not what the initial promo shot looked like. It's always slicked back, spiky hair.
You're talking about this very small image here, where it's kind of flopped down.
In last week's preview, we got a bigger shot of it.
Yeah, and now it's always spiked up.
Now it's always spiked up. He does when he shows his vampire teeth. It's always looks like he has like.
This looks terrible. The teeth are like going outwards so far.
Yeah, and it happens multiple times. They go eat dinner. He's like, "No, I can't eat garlic. All right." And also, haven't you noticed that I was in the sun? What kind of vampire would do that? You're stupid for thinking I'm a vampire. He pays and leaves, and she's like, "No, this is not the final bit." Oh, by the way, he also like overpowers her and is like, "Well, if I was a vampire, I would like bite you now." And she's like, "Oh no, maybe it's true." And then he's like, "No, psych, I'm not." And she feels stupid. Then she goes to the graveyard and finds the real vampire, who is some kind of Bratz doll, big woman. What's it called? The doll series? Is it Monster High or something like that?
Monster High,
Monster High. That's what she looks like.
Monster High doll.
And like she realizes she's in danger. She takes a photo of one of the tombstones and puts it on her social media. And the guy is like, "Oh, that means she's there, and she wouldn't post this if she wasn't in trouble." She goes there, bites her, gets a power up. And
there's the transformation.
He is a vampire, and it transforms him.
Yeah, he looks like he does on the promo.
A little bit more like the design from the promo shot, but he never like the promo shot in the manga, and I don't know where it's coming from. And it never looks as good as the promo shot, because you can see here the perspective is again kind of weird. Also, the action gets kind of wonky, like the evil vampire is cutting with her nails through a bunch of trees, and the trees are just floating and they're ducking in a weird way. Then he pulls out a big sword out of the scar in his chest, and I'm highlighting this again just to point out that the teeth are wonky again.
So weird looking.
It's if you draw about vampires, you have to be able to draw the teeth consistently. Well. So that's one complaint that I have with it.
Step one to drawing a vampire
and then
series.
he cuts the vampire in half, and she dies, and then it's all a dream? ?
It's all a dream, unless this gets popular, then it won't be a dream. We can continue it.
So I can kind of see the series, like this being picked up as a series. I really hope that maybe the promo shot was drawn afterwards, because this is the winning entry that like gets published once it's one of the final contenders or something.
So
And
you're hoping that this is like a first draft of the chapter,
yeah, kind
and
of,
that when it comes to the actual series, then it will be more consistently drawn.
the style in the promo shot is lankier, longer, not as stumpy, and this is not what I expected. And the story doesn't make up for it because it's just a really basic bit.
It seems very
Who's
bland.
the one who has the superpowers? Is it you? No, I'm not the one who has the superpowers. Oh,
Actually,
it's this monster. Actually, I was the one with the superpowers. And what was it? I think he's like the seventh son of the demon lord or something, and that kind of makes him a vampire, but also not. And
really?
that's why he always was like, no, I'm not a vampire. I'm way better. Or maybe he was the other way.
Neon vampire.
I don't care about it enough, but at the same time, like, vampires would be okay as a new series, but the author really needs to work a little bit on the art because it's at the cusp of being really good, but right now it's not.
Could be good. Way better. We'll see when it becomes a ongoing series.
I don't want to be too much of a hard ass about it, but like, if the story isn't excellent,
we can hope. We can hope for
the art is barely, like, almost really good, then I have an issue with it.
Well, that just means that if you encourage them, like Nappa's knees, then they'll work on improving, get better. Anyway, finally we got the preview page. Is that Kurapika?
Is it Klapikt? Could be.
Yes,
it is.
Coming back next week.
A bizarre presence is squirming inside the ship.
Yeah. Man, they've been at sea for years. What a long journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to highlight on the previews, or should I go to the author's comments?
There's another one shot being highlighted. It's called, what is it called? Koi no Yobi no Seizaki-san. So I'm going to assume this is some kind of rom-com because it has the word love in it.
Yeah.
Seizaki-san of the Weekday of Love? What?
We'll find out next week when they actually publish that one shot.
Yes.
And if we get finally, the author's comments.
I have only two things to say about the comments.
Yeah, was there anything noticeable this time?
Is how the fuck does Mapollo 3 of PPPPPP have time to play competitive Splatoon 3?
Is it ending?
No, it's because he's just shitting out all of his chapters with
this is the reason. This is the reason for those blank panels that just say nothingness. Because he's like, oh shit, I spent too much time playing Splatoon 3.
It mildly gets worse.
Don't have time to draw anything.
He says he even likes the worst mode, Clam Blitz. That's the one where you collect the basketball or football looking clams and put them in the basket. I hate that one. That's the worst.
I'll avoid it.
Mode.
I get Splatoon 3.
So
I want to play Splatoon 3 so much because it looks like it's the ultimate fashion game. Step aside all those Barbie designer games. Splatoon.
I'm missing. I think that right now the stages are a little bit limited and the music is a little bit limited.
Okay.
And the weapons are limited. This is going to improve over the course of the lifespan of the game. But I think Splatoon 2 was immutely more to my liking as Splatoon 3. Also, the initial, like the area, the lobby area, with all of the stores, I always get lost there. I don't know where all the stores are. I always have to click on the menu to get to the stores. The area is way too big, and it should be just one big circle with all of the stores on the walls. But instead, it's almost labyrinthine.
Yeah. That's
this time around, and Splatoon 2 wasn't. And Splatoon 1 also.
I wonder if they'd be able to rework that in an update.
They made their choice. I mean, it looks great. It looks amazing. I would want to live there.
Hopefully, you just learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's a me
All right.
problem.
Any other comments, or shall we just end it?
Hiroki Tomisawa of Super Smartphone apologizes for the rushed end.
He should apologize. Yeah,
I know, right?
It's not good. Yeah,
Anyways.
apology accepted.
You
deserve it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, we'll see you probably not next week, but in a day or two after we watch and read the next Chainsaw Man. Because there's a new episode, and I believe there's a new chapter coming out this week as well.
Because I was about to say our Hunter x Hunter is only just beginning.
Oh, yes. Our hunt is only just beginning.